Ain't got nothing to say. Let's roll.
Hello tankers, Adam Snellgrove here. This month's What Monthly is going to be a bit different because I'm joined today by Captain Taito. You might know him from the World of Tanks Twitch channel. Over to you, Taito.
Thanks, Adam. You can expect me to be giving you all of the updates for events that are currently underway, with Adam being here to give you all of the juicy details for things that are to come. Anyway, before I yap too much, should we get going? Don't forget to test your mettle and jump into Onslaught. The current season lasts until November 9th, and don't miss out on your chance to grab this year's reward, the Ashbringer, sporting a unique and striking progressive 3D style with 4 different versions. But while you'll only be able to get your hands on that at the end of the Onslaught year, there are still plenty of rewards to be had this season, including bonds, improved equipment, and much more. Speaking of Onslaught, the AMD Onslaught Legend Series will be ongoing until November 9th, when you can tune in to the Grand Finals. You'll be able to witness a fierce battle for the championship title on both the European and American servers. It's something you do not want to miss. Make sure to tune in throughout the series, as there will be OLS Token Store tokens to be earned via Twitch drops. AMD has been upping the stakes for this season, with team members from the first and second place teams receiving the blazing fast AMD Radeon RX 9070 XT GPU. There is not long left to claim your goodies from the Babylon event. And when we say not long left, we mean it. The event finishes at the very beginning of November, so by the time this video is out, you might be down to your final few hours.
Look out for the hedgehogs!
Taito, I know that you're keen, but don't go taking over the whole video just yet. You'll see more of Taito next month, but for now, let's keep going. So, after OLS, there'll be the biggest offline tournament of the year. On November 22nd and 23rd, the ultimate boss steps into the arena, the World of Tanks Championship International, with the finals taking place on November 29 and 30. It's a live LAN event over in China, where teams from all around the world battle for glory and for cash. The prize pool is around 1.6 million yuan, which is more than $200,000. Can Hit and Run keep a hold of their crown and become champions for the 3rd time? We will have to wait and see, because this year's competition is fierce. Tune into WCI at the end of November and grab some Twitch drops too. Due to the location of the event, streams will be happening at different times compared to what you're used to. Early morning if you're in the EU, or late at night in the NA region. And that's not all that November has in store. Get ready for a more accessible grassroots esports experience, Maneuvers. It's coming early in the month. Rally your squad and battle for epic rewards, including the long-awaited return of the Chieftain. And who knows, maybe one day your team will rise all the way to OLS and WCI. Very soon we'll be fighting for more than just glory. We'll be fighting for survival and our future in the upcoming November Battle Pass chapter. We have some cool stuff and things on the way. You can expect to see more information very soon, but in the meantime, take a guess in the comment section as to who might be joining us for the Battle Pass. Steel Hunter returns in mid-November. You can expect more fast-paced, jaw-dropping action while players fight it out to be the last person standing. We've also updated the garage interface and added some new customizations to the Steel Seal store. The hunt is on. Also, coming this November, massive battles are returning in Frontline. Expect Tier 8 30v30 combat on wide-open maps, allowing opportunities for all kinds of tactics. And loads of credits to be earned. Random events will be coming to 3 more maps: Mountain Pass, Highway, and Ghost Town, bringing new opportunities for exciting tactics and gameplay. Arcade Cabinet Equalize returns for 2 weekends in mid to late November. Get ready to fight side by side with vehicles from 10 tiers. Only here can you settle the age-old question: who's stronger, the tiger or the mouse? Literally. Even though we had the release of Tier 11 with Update 2.0 in September, you won't be seeing any Tier 11s during the game mode. At least, not this time around. This November marks our first anniversary of collaborating with Boostroid. Cast your line and hook the anniversary haul with a special commander and a full set of customization elements. Quite the catch. Other guaranteed rewards are still in place too. The Astron Rex tank, 1,000 gold, experimental equipment, and more. Not only that, the roster of premium vehicles for those who have a 6-month Boostroid subscription will be refreshed in November. The celebrations don't stop there. November marks Poland's Independence Day. It's time to break out the bread with smallets, the perfect thing to enjoy while you check out the new 2D style for my Lewandowskiego. No Lewandowskiego? You can use the 2D style on any Polish vehicle instead. November brings Remembrance Day here in Europe, as well as Veterans Day in the United States. On November 11, we will honor both with a special in-game event featuring missions and rewards. More importantly, these days are a reminder of history and the lessons that it has taught us. Finally, November will also be bringing about Black Friday, meaning that there will be some fantastic offers in our merch store. Keep your eyes peeled for more news about the exciting offers towards the end of the month. And that's everything from us for now. Drop a like if you haven't already and leave a comment below the video. And I'll see you with Captain Taito next month. Cheerio!
Nära i kvällsbyn där jag stäng inte vägen, ta dig vill följa Guds folk till strid över berg och vilja. Vägen framåt, ägar en pilgrim, nära i kvällsstund, nära i kvällsstund är jag. Stäng inte vägen, får jag vill följa Guds folk till strid över berg och vilja. Vägar framåt, ägar en pilgrim, nära i kvällsstund, nära i kvällsstund är jag.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.
Hello gamers and welcome to the Onslaught Legends Series Season 4 sponsored by AMD. Today joined here starting by Moff. We're getting towards the very end of the regular season.
Yeah, we are getting to that crunch time in the late season, and 3 more matches coming up today. They could potentially prove pivotal for some of the teams that we've got coming up, but I mean the severity of the situation might become clear the more matches that are played.
For some teams, it's no longer in their own hands what happens here. In others, it's a potential deciding moment today. One more play day after this, before we go to the playoffs. And then we see who becomes champions. So far, 2 clear favorites is maybe a stretch, but 2 teams above the rest though.
Yeah, I would say so. I would agree with that sentiment. Obviously referring to Hit and Run and Mafia, the 2 top dogs, the 2 Polish superpowers. Cashback are just a little bit of a way behind the rest of them, and then below that it's kind of a bit of a free-for-all, but they're all fighting it out for that grand prize that you guys at home have been racking up as well, building up that prize pot for the teams by purchasing the bundles, predicting who you think is going to win the whole thing. Personally, I went for the Hit and Run bundle, and at the moment, I think I'm probably in pole position with that.
Yes, so far it does seem to be that way. I think Kihan also went for a Hit and Run, so whoever is going to win the season, but also the second place, is going to take home, on top of the prize money, the AMD Radeon 9070 XT on top of that, which is a little juicer, not even a little juicer, a big juicer to the rewards extra. So getting to the finals, super important.
Yeah, it's nice and overkill for World of Tanks. Let me tell you that. Plenty of FPS that's going to be eked out of that in terms of performance. Of course, we mentioned the bundles. You can't buy the prediction bundle anymore. That has been closed. The prediction bundle allows you to upgrade to a slightly more golden style if you predicted the correct winner. But you can still contribute to the prize pool for your favorite team if you want or believe that they're going to end up winning, if you just want to boost it a little bit.
Yeah, the Elite Bundle, the same perks minus the upgraded part of it. You can still purchase that until I think the finals start, basically. So, still available. Now, mentioned it in the beginning, some teams have it in their own hands, others no longer do. But before that, let's take a look at these token earnings. You still have a potential of 25 tokens, including today. So 5 today, and then 20 on 25, 30, including today, 5 on Thursday, 20 on the weekend. So that will bolster your amount of drops tokens that you can spend in the Onslaught Legends series token store by quite a lot, especially when you're working towards the Lansen, the Stereo WT, the T35, T34 85M, Object 140 3D style, 2D style premium days, consumables, and personal reserves.
Yeah, still the 2D style, which we cannot for the life of us remember what the name is, but it looks nice.
Exactly. You know, so there's at least that. It looks good, and that's really all that matters. The name is, you know, secondary, right?
Yeah, and same thing goes with the bundles, really. It's all about whether it looks good, the camos, but it's not looking good for some teams, and it's looking great for some others in this table.
That is indeed very true. Now, we talked about it, mentioned it, not in the hands anymore. W is no longer able to decide their own fate. They need Weekend to fail, and of course they need to win out as well.
Yeah, they need to concentrate on the things that are within their own control, and that is being able to just focus on winning some games. But that's easier said than done, as we'll find out later, the opponents that they've got coming up in their last 2 matches. Weekend have a great opportunity to get a knockout punch here. The match they've got coming up, as first one we're going to watch actually, is Weekend against Yogurt. They've got a fantastic opportunity to put themselves beyond the reach of W.
Yeah, if we can win this, it's over for W this season. And Yogurt as well. But it's completely over for W at that point. They can no longer make it to the playoffs, which would be a big blow.
I don't think that's true, actually. Mathematically, if W win both games...
Okay, but...
It's almost over.
Basically over. Okay, 95%.
95%. That's still a window. Anyway, here's the window of the schedule that we've got coming up. As mentioned, Yogurt against Weekend, first matchup of the day. And depending on how this one goes, it could potentially raise the stakes going into the second match. Hit and Run, the table leaders, the guys that are in that pole position right now. They're looking very strong up against a really struggling W team, 2 times former champions. Can they find something within themselves to pull it back?
We'll have to see. It's a big matchups all around. Yogurt versus Weekend for that last playoff spot. Hit and Run versus W for the last playoff spot as well, and for maintaining first on the leaderboard. But then Cashback versus Mafia, again, winner of this will, in case of Mafia, put themselves back on first, I think, because of the point difference. And for Cashback, sneaking into the top 2 would be a big reward to a pretty good season from them.
Yeah, it would be. But, of course, that first match of the day is what we're going to focus on right now. Yogurt against Weekend. A Ukrainian derby, we might say. But not one that's happened too much, because Weekend is a fairly newly formed team.
Yeah, Weekend has come into the season by storm. Won out in the beginning. Did a lot of great upsets. And then they hit a roadblock. It's all started with Mafia at the end of phase 1, shutting them down. And then afterwards... took them a while to come back, and when it mattered most against their direct competitor of W, they brought it home.
Yeah, they clutched up in a big way. You might say that they stopped the rot. I did a bit of research on Liquipedia. Up until that game they played against W, they'd gone 2-14. So they'd only won 2 out of the last 14 rounds of play in this competition, which just shows you how bad of a run of form that team was on, until they managed to clutch up when it mattered most in that match against W.
And that's really all that matters. They won the most important match, and now they gotta, of course, not give it away, but they are prime positioned to make it into the top 4.
Yeah, it's looking very good for them. I mean, they've got it within their own hands, unlike W, as we just mentioned. And in case anyone is wondering, the situation for Yogurt as well, the only way that they could reach the playoffs, I don't know exactly if this is accurate because it's my own calculations, but I wrote down the only way they can get to playoffs is if they win both of their next matches 4-0, and they need Weekend to lose 0-4 in both games as well for points difference.
That's not happening.
It's definitely fairly unlikely. It would be pretty miraculous, but I'm just saying technically it's still possible.
Yeah, it's a highly technical aspect, though. I don't think we're going to be seeing that one appear. I mean, it could move, and if it did, it would be crazy. Let's put it that way.
And of course they need W not to win as well, so they need 2 teams to just completely flop, and themselves to rise above it all. Here we go with the pick and bans, though. Himmelsdorf, the first map, banned. Sand River is Yogurt's first pick. Then we're going to go on towards Weekend's map pick of Ensk. Then Weekend's second map pick of Siegfried Line. And if we need it, we're going to go on Ghost Town.
What do we make of the picks here? Sand River starting, Ensk, Siegfried Line. Yogurt picked Sand River though, so they really wanted to play this early on. I mean, for them, maybe not about the playoffs, Mov, but it's about that number 5 position.
Yeah,
right?
And that's the second best thing that a more realistic option and target that Yogurt can strive for today is getting that number 5 place, because it means they're going to lock themselves in, guarantee a spot in towards Season 5. They won't have to mess around with relegation. But you mentioned that Yogurt, they really want to pick Sand River, and I think that's because Weekend have got a pretty bad win rate on it. They've got 20% win rate on this map so far in the season. Predictions coming in across the board for Weekend, not really any surprise. Baby going for the 4-0 though. That's a preferred strategy that I usually like to go for, but I just don't think it's going to be a 4-0 today.
Yeah, I'm not feeling the 4-0 either, especially with the stakes this high for either team. Mistakes are likely to happen.
Yeah, I think it's definitely going to be quite a scrappy affair between these two teams. And Weekend, you know, they came over the big hump that was W. That was the really important match, but it's almost like there's more pressure in this one because you know that you're expected to win.
Let's see what they can bring, though. It's going to be Yogurt coming out with a BZ, an AX, triple E50M, an SCRV, and an RHM.
Meanwhile, Yogurt's going with BZ, CentaX, triple E50M, SCRV, and an RHM as well. So both teams rocking the SCRV. Normally we only see it from the western spawn because you can play on the bushes up in the middle.
But for Weekend it's a bit unorthodox to have this more passive lineup, no? They liked playing aggressive, so now it's very, very back. Yeah,
it's definitely a step away from what they normally like to play. But, you know, I've been kind of calling for this for a while. Like, I think they need to just develop some new kinds of ideas or just try something different, because they really felt like they got found out at that mid portion of the season. So I'm happy that they're trying some other stuff. Perhaps they're not going to be as familiar with it though, so that might create its own problems early on. Look at that sniper's nest. D2 is occupied by STRV, E50 and an AX. Sunshine needs to be careful because there's going to be quite a few guns aiming on towards him. YOLO's getting planed in the middle though, and he takes 2 shots for it. Bit of damage, more shots going in from Clownzig. He takes another one and he gets replaned again. YOLO down to below half health.
Does he sit safe to behind that rock? It looks like he's okay now. Below half health. No, he's taking another shot there from the side of Yogurt. He's down towards the 1 shot. I don't think he's making it out. Can he actually get there? He does, but on 273 HP.
That is certainly not ideal. I think he was very fortunate to escape there. The STRV just about didn't have the reload timing from when he ran, but the problem for him is that because he kept taking shots, that meant that Sunshine's plane kept recycling, so he could just keep dropping it straight on his head. Normally what you can do is, if you have been playing, you can sit safe. As long as you don't take any damage, then you don't allow the light tank to keep feeding the plane.
So, now that we've seen the start, Weekend very much in favor. The light being a 1-shot is huge for them. They will slowly work their way through the K-line, I would guess, with that Mivi. But they're very, very passive still, though.
Both teams are quite passive, if we're being completely honest about it. But Weekend's so spread out across the map as well. I mean, Yogurt as well. Like, they're all, you know, E50M in J1. They've got a BZ in G4, STRV in Spawn. There's some guys trying to create some pressure towards the north as well. Shelby taking a shot of damage, now taking 2 shots of damage. The BZ sniping him from across the map, and the E50M is a powerful tank, but when it's left alone in no man's land, not great.
If you're a W fan watching the start of this match, it's going to be pretty devastating, you know, already looking like Weekend coming in and not cleaning house, but doing a good amount of damage to 2 tanks of the 50Ms and a great damage towards YOLO. It's a trailing game here for Yogurt. It's going to be really tough to get themselves back in this one, especially when losing that K-line control, losing that strike over there, no options to take any objectives of their own right now, taking some more damage, this time on the Ramadik as well. It's just not getting any better.
Yeah. Yogurt gonna make a play now though. I think he's just gonna go in real, peeking around the corner. Just trying to suss out some positions, seeing if he gets spotted. Kano is now known about in that SDB and given that how passive he is, with Trash Panda covering, strike goes in. So this is clearly where they want to go. They really would love nothing more than Imwareal to be able to jump straight into that STB and just ram in full speed. Strike coming in. Is it going to hit 2? Just the 1? But this damage is quite significant at this point in the game. They're about 3,000 HP down before anything even happens. Of course, YOLO's a one-shot as well, which means he doesn't have any power to make some plays and poke and prod.
They're sending down another E50M of Liquor on the 7 line. Invo just looking and waiting. Kano gets spotted out now. Ramadek in the middle taking another shot of damage. The Inspire from both teams getting popped because Invo is pushing down 0 line. Kano actually caught off guard, caught out of position. Invo goes down towards 1.1, but most importantly survives this little ordeal, evening out the guns. Wants to maybe even continue through, but opts not to do it. 3,000 HP difference, but a gun advantage now for Yogurt.
Yeah, I was quite surprised at how quickly Kano went down there, as the angles that Yogurt were able to find proved to be quite effective. And now Trash Panda, in this position, he's just poking, but he can't actually climb up there, not in an E50M, certainly without any speed at all. And he's locked into this position as well, which means that Izard is forced to cover him additionally. I mean, Imwareal's also locked here. He also can't leave in his E50M, which is not ideal either. But Weekend just being pushed back further into their spawn. They're giving up quite a lot of map control. Now Liquor's going for the push, and he's not spotted for this, and neither is Imwareal. Trash Panda is going to get a nasty surprise. There's going to be a strike presumably going in here. Imwareal is going to be the focus for Trash Panda, and rightly so. The HP on that gun is significantly less. He's not going to be able to dodge the strike either, which means he's a one-shot, and Trash Panda will find the kill. Liquor should be able to trade it out, but not before he takes a hefty amount of damage as well.
Yeah, but they keep that gun advantage though, and YOLO is right now in no danger of dying either, so that one-shot RHM will stay alive, Liquor will stay alive as well, Sunshine can take more strikes and maybe kill him, because Weekend still has the HP advantage. But this is not how they would like to close this round out whatsoever.
Yeah, and they don't really have the gun to re-push in this situation. The K91 is a certified sniper tank. So is the STRV. The BZ's quite far away. I think they're probably going to use Hellwrap to go through the waterbed, but that radar tower could be massively important for Yogurt here. It's going to tell them all they need to know. They know that Hellwrap is now the tank that's going to try and push to get that kill.
The weird aspect is that Sunshine opted to run away from the kill and instead of taking the strike move. Why is that? I
think he got a bit scared because Shelby made some repressure in J1. So he thought he was going to get overpeaked if he tried to take the strike, but nonetheless, if Shelby had done that, the M5Y is there to cover it. Now, like you say, Sunshine's going back over, presumably to collect that strike, and that would make Liquor go down to a one-shot, so then the BZ or the K91 just has to push to get one kill, but even then, I'm not even sure who's winning on damage dealt, even if they did equalize the guns.
I mean, 2 strikes would also kill Liquor.
Yeah, but they're only going to be able to collect 1 right now. I mean, they do have enough time with the cooldown.
Thing is, Liquor can't really escape this one, or can he?
I think he's trying to just move to an unorthodox location so he can't get blind strike. I think he realizes that maybe he can't actually leave. Although right now the K91's not poking, so he could have backed off if he wanted to. But there goes the BZ, Hellwrap. Look at the minimap. He's closing in. Look at Liquor in his E50M. It's not a very high camo tank. He could have potentially... There was a window where he could have left, but now Izard is looking at it. Hellwrap is going for the peak. They're going to strike, and hopefully the BZ will connect a shot to kill him at the same time. Some shots come in, 2 bounces, that's not ideal. The strike will hit on Liquor, and he drives forwards to try and dodge it, but he will not connect. Hellwrap just needs to aim, he just needs to take his time, and he will. He picks up the kill. Very important for Weekend, who equalized the guns.
Yeah, and Liquor doesn't even take damage there. Sunshine now on the artillery strike, getting pushed as well by Shelby and Ramadek, but Shelby needs to be careful, and Ramadek is also just in trouble because the STRV of Evil Lock still watching from behind, and yeah, Yogurt got that kill advantage, but they never try to leave with Liquor, which allows the quite simple repush, if you want to call it that way, to come into effect, and when it does, kills get taken quickly. Shelby now trying to run away as well. He takes a 250 strike to the face. Good placement there from Iset. And the K91 Sunshine with those bushes gives him a shot. I think that's a non-connection even onto Shelby. From Shelby onto Sunshine. Sunshine re-peeking. Will not miss this one. And Weekend, it wasn't pretty the way they closed it, but the early advantage just kept them ahead in this game nonetheless.
I think they were reasonably in control the whole time. Sunshine backing away, knows that he doesn't need to throw his tank to the wolves for no reason here. I think Clownzig's just going to go and investigate, more so out of boredom. The poor guy has just been chilling in his M5Y for pretty much the whole game, not really had to do anything. And Weekend, the way they set up from this round, it really just set them up for success, right? They just perfectly positioned to counter anything that Yogurt wanted to do.
Still, would have liked to see Weekend. You know, I think the STB got owned by the STRV.
Do you think he poked from D6 unspotted?
Yeah, of course it's an STRV. Who would spot it?
Potentially.
Kano, okay, so Kano wasn't in C0, right? In between the June, he was behind it, one further south. I'm pretty sure if the STRV peaks hold down, he gets good shots.
Yep.
And it's an STRV.
Yeah, you're right. Great camera as the clock strikes 0. And we know from those draw rules that Weekend will be securing the first round, which is good start for them. I think the key observations from that one is that they were reasonably in control of the round at all points, and they're playing a different style, right? They're not playing the way that we expect them to or used to play, where they go hyper-aggressive for these brawl kind of games, and perhaps there's them acknowledging that they don't want to get countered. Perhaps it's them acknowledging that playing against a weaker opponent like Yogurt, maybe a more control-based game is going to be a safer option.
Yeah, if you let them make the mistake, you know, then it's pretty easy to kill them and you're sitting back anyways. If you're going for the brawl, anything can happen. Anything can and anything will happen. You're not always guaranteed to win it, you know. So Aphrodite does come in top for his team with 4k damage still, so the assumption about the STB probably right, and the result remains the same though. We can pick up their first round. One step towards potential safety.
1 out of 4. 25% of the way there in the number of rounds required. Sunshine coming top damage. Probably, almost certainly, because of just the strike damage, right? I think he probably did...
Yeah, 2k was strike damage.
Maybe like 3 strikes in the round. 1-0 for Yogurt. Weekend. This is Yogurt's map pick, so you don't really want to go down 2-0 on your own map pick, especially when the next maps that are coming up, like Weekend actually has a 100% win rate on Ensk this season, and they have a really good win rate on Himmels as well. So
yeah, but how many times have they played Ensk?
It's like 4 games, but it's still a 100% win rate.
I mean, just the question is of how like statistically relevant it is, you know.
Yeah, but it's still a decent map for them in that regard. So yeah, if you're Yogurt, I think you really do need to pick up this second round.
If you're Weekend, you're going to try and prevent them from doing that. They're playing from the west now. Yogurt's going to be playing from the east. I don't know. I just feel like Weekend will run this match, to be honest. That's my understanding of it.
I think they've set the tone really well, is what you're getting at. It just they look more stable. It doesn't look like, at this point, it doesn't look like they're particularly stressed. I mean, it's very easy to say that. We had the exact same thing in the match between CTR and Lotus, where the first 2 rounds was just so dominant from CTR. It didn't look like Lotus was going to get any kind of way into the match, but it's just 1 round.
Can they do more? That's the question. Weekend versus Yogurt. Yogurt again, RHM, K91, W50M, AX, 1E50M, AX, CS63 × 2, and a BZ75.
Weekend going IS7, M5Y, CS63, E50M, 140, STRV, and T100. The T100 Lite, not a very common pick at all, really. I'm not even sure we've seen it once in this season. It was popular at one point, playing on Cliff, because it was more difficult to shoot when it climbed up the hill in the beginning of the round. So curious to see what the intention behind that pick is from Weekend. Probably the low profile nature means it's easier for him to take the E6 strike, maybe, or maybe it's because he can sit behind the radar tower. Everyone knows there's a little bit of destructible cover that obviously he can sit safe behind temporarily, and he does get the radar for free at the start of the round. YOLO, I think, used his plane at the beginning of the game, so was unable to drop the plane on the radar tower. And Clownzig and Isaac, they are spotted crossing here by Shelby in his CS63. IS7 now moving further up, but there is presence here from Yogurt.
Yeah, the CS63 spotting up front. Double, triple tank actually making their way up zero line. It's double E50M and an AX Shelby going to reposition away from that committed position, kind of back off towards zero line, and this could be a big surprise for Weekend. They will not know about this zero line for a long time.
Yeah, but they used the radar tower at the beginning, so did they not see them all crossing? Do they not know that that's a possibility? And more real is known about now, thanks to IZ peeking over. But it's almost Yoga actually want to push here. Liquor is moving up. They don't really have the guns to overwhelm here. It's a straight up 4v4.
Now, Liquor is spotted out, going for Clownzig. He has 2 tanks in support. But the brawl right now is indeed not gonna be won by Yogurt if it comes down to it. I mean, Invo is pushing up now, but Trash Panda is coming in as well. Iset is already there with the 140 in support, and Invo, I think, all of a sudden realizes the trouble that he's in, because we can have still plenty of tanks in the neighborhood and plenty of punish with those tanks as well, as Invo tries to make a move on Iset, but instead the move gets made. Uno reverse back on him, and now Liquor in that position is not going to do much better than Invo. He's going to get a few more shots off, but the result will remain the same. He will fall, and when he does, okay, gets one more shot. It drops Iset below half HP, and now Yogurt arriving with the rest of their team, but still they're not winning this brawl right now, not with the tanks that they have. Yogurt in return is also fighting the IS-7, the 140 of Kano getting peeled off towards that, but Yogurt needs to make the move and needs to make it quick, because even the SCRV is about to arrive for the side of Weekend. Trash Panda making the move forward on towards Aphrodite, trying to maximize his damage. Aphrodite bouncing one as well. Iset falling. YOLO coming back in, but look at the SCRV lording about. Shelby is pushed away behind a corner. Ramadek now trying to run away, and it's not really getting much better on Trash Panda, as he's living for far, far too long.
Yeah, Lobe missing 2 shots in a row on the E50M. It's really not ideal at this point. Eventually they find the kill, but what are you left with? You've lost the entire rest of the map in the meantime, and unfortunately for Yogurt, just not able to recover from that initial snowball. Ramadik is kind of left to die in the situation. The other 2 mediums unable to support him, and Weekend, they clear up the entire rest of the map.
Losing 2 guns, pretty hard to recover from, especially when you don't trade well for either of them.
Yeah, and they weren't. The fire wasn't even concentrated on towards one target as well. It was just sporadic, shooting what they could in front of them. It's a bit unfortunate. I don't think those 2 shots from Love really mattered like at all. Ultimately, it's just a bit unfortunate that we happened to be watching at that particular moment. But at the moment, it's looking great for Weekend, and they don't even, they're not really having to do a whole lot. They're just capitalizing on their opponent's mistakes. Yeah,
they get a good round here yet again, winning out 2-0. And you said Yogurt needs a round moving into Ensk. They will not get that round moving into Ensk whatsoever. It will be 2-0 for Weekend moving into Ensk. And you said it was a good map for the side of Weekend, so not looking good.
It ain't a pretty picture, that's for sure. And I think at this point, I would probably be inclined to go along with Mr. Gotcha Babies. prediction, which is the 4-0, I think that's looking ever more likely now as we move in towards Ensk. Aphrodite coming top damage for his team. Kano doing a nice job in the 140. How many times have we said that this season? But we never really... I mean, I like the T100 pick. I think it was just for that radar tower in the beginning, and maybe for the mid-strike.
Yeah, I mean, T100 worked out here, I guess. If you think about it.
Evil didn't get to do a whole lot, though, in his STRV, but...
I mean,
the
game was over by the time he arrived.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be complaining too much about that. Just an unfortunate overstep from just one guy in the E50M in Immoreal. It's not really his fault either, it's just the team, they did not expect Weekend to be there with that many guns, and they just get caught out. It takes a couple of shots for free, and then that's really... Sometimes that's just all it takes. All it takes to just collapse your position, your hold that you have. If it was just Liquor that was pushed up and he just held like that, I wouldn't have minded that position. But given that the entire plan was to go, you almost wonder why they didn't send up more guns with Immoreal to make that push.
I think they felt like they had a surprise happening against ISET in the north, and then
they were the ones that got surprised.
Exactly. Sometimes that's how the cookie crumbles.
And will it all come crumbling down on Ensk though? Probably.
Will it? I mean, Weekend has a 100% win ratio. If they continue that, then it's 4-0.
That would be so.
Is this likely? I don't think so, though.
You don't think it's going to be 2-0 on this map?
Nah, split down the middle.
1-1, and then we go on to Himmels, which is also not a very, very good map for Yogurt. So, Actually, sorry, it's not Himmels, it's Siegfried Line. Never mind. Which is actually a good map for Yogurt.
They have to get there, though.
Yeah, they do have to get there. They need to survive through Ensk if they can.
Survive through Ensk. I mean, even going into Himmels 3-1 is not that fantastic.
Even going into not Himmels 3-1.
No, I don't see that 2-0. I don't know. I still think Yogurt haven't really gotten to play the match so far, you know?
Well, they have the opportunity. They just didn't arrive to the party yet. But they're going to try now. Weekend are going to prevent that from happening, hopefully for their sake, with a BZ Type 5, 140, triple Foch B, and a Wheezy TD.
Yogurt, double IS4, 140, a 4-2 Foch B, and double E4. That's a lot of Foch Bs from the Weekend side, though.
Yeah, which you know, I think that's quite a good matchup for them up against double IS4. IS4 is not like particularly great DPM. It's also not a very fast tank, which means that if they do get caught by the Foch Bs, they're not going to be running away at any sort of great speed. BZ down the middle at the start, trying to spot a couple of tanks pushing across towards the field, so they do know about IS4 and Immoreal in his E4. 430 of Aphrodite being aggressive as well, so Yogurt, they really want to contest for this strike. That's a good shot from Sunshine to get tag Shelby just before he gets into the strike. Oh no, the 140, look at the city, there's triple Foch B. Love, he needs to run right now, but I think it might be a bit too late. The Foch Bs, they're starting to clip. He's down to half HP, and the Foch B is almost as fast as a 140, if not faster anyway, and he's being tracked and held. He's getting completely bamboozled and surprised, and that's the Inspire gone.
Yeah, that 140 on that part of the map, just looking to pick up some objectives, but he will not find any. Clownzik is out in the open by himself, and you can see that Yogurt is converging in return. They know they got to do something, and they got to do something quick, because those Fosh Bees, they will come into the battle. YOLO now pushing on towards Trash Panda. The strike coming out as well. It hits 2. That's what they need. YOLO doesn't pop the ability immediately, though wants to hold it for a higher level. Can he track Trash Panda again? He can. That's a beautiful track, actually. Trash Panda in that Wheezy TD getting held, and YOLO is going to be healing a decent amount back. Aphrodite gonna finish him off together with Liquor, and then in return they find Clownzik as well. But here comes the repush once more from Weekend with those Fosh B. Evillock now leading the charge, popping the ability as well. That's gonna be a big heal for him if they don't put him down, and I don't think that Yogurt got the execute just in time as the Fosh Bees come back. They clip, they make the kills as well. And now it's just 3 tanks left standing from Yogurt, and match point is looming.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Yogurt in this one, as Shelby is just being bullied by the Fosh. Ized, he's on reload, but he's still just holding that tank in place, and they're both just wiggling in front of him. They can't kill him, they're all on reload, and they're just waiting for Hellrap, he's still got a couple of shots. It might actually end up being just only the Fosh Bees alive at the end here, if not for Sunshine in his BZ-75. But the cleanup crew arrives just in time to wipe the floor with the rest of the Yogurt team, and again, it's just a case of one and done. Like they kill one tank for free in the beginning, and then that kind of just paints the picture for the rest of the round.
Yeah, and as a result, Yogurt really never got to play this match so far. I find every game that it's like giving up a tank. So Sand River 1, they basically lose a full RHM. Sand River 2, they lose 2 E50Ms.
Yep.
And here on Ends, they lose a 140.
Yeah, they're probably thinking, man, we'd be a really great team if we just didn't play 6v7 every single round. Love, unfortunately, doesn't get out of that one, but credit to Weekend. It's a nice idea. Triple Fosh B into towards that city area. Just any sort of mobile autoloaders, like, it's usually quite easy to just catch someone out in that situation. Pen rates on the Fosh Bs are great as well, but it's also not that surprising given that they were shooting at a panicking 140 as he tried to run away.
Yeah, that poor 140. He was never making it out of there. And the Fosh Bs come back with that reload on time to clean up the battle.
Yeah, I think Yogurt maybe, like, the only opportunity, like you said, is that they get that overpush done cleanly enough that they can sort of ride the wave of then the repush of the Fosh Bs. And there was this moment where they tracked Trash Panda in his Wheezy TD, and they had him permed, and then Liquor drove forwards, and I thought that was a slight mistake. I don't know whether it really changes anything in the round, but because he drove forwards, Trash Panda was still able to shoot him in his Wheezy TD, so that was another 750 damage. And then because Liquor was in a committed position, the Fosh Bs were immediately able to repush on towards him. So maybe if he's passive in the E4, they can kite it out for a little bit longer. But like you mentioned, it's just, you're coming back from such a deficit. We're talking about maybe just making the game a tiny bit closer.
Yeah, I agree that, you know, he could have avoided the 750 from Trash Panda, but I don't think that it would have ended up with them winning the round. You know, it's hard to stop those 18 shells when they start pushing, especially because all the Fosh Bs that were coming in from the city have this one thing, which even the Fosh B from Yogurt didn't have, is high level ability. So when they come back from the city with the 3 of them, they're on level 2 or level 3 ability on the Fosh B. They're healing a ton as well off of this.
Yeah, that's a very good point, because normally the Fosh B, at least from the first engagement, you don't have that ability to the full level of charge, so you want to shoot, you want to get off like at least 2 shots for free before you to charge the ability before you activate, because I think level 3 is, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it's 75%, and I don't know what the other ones are below that, but level 1 basically gives you nothing, right? It's not particularly useful.
Level 1 is the one you use when you know you're in trouble.
Yeah. Level 1 is the emergency panic button.
It's like FE 4005 spotted. Press it, press it, press it.
Just the reaction press. The worst feeling is when you press the button and then that you don't get shot in the initial phase, and then all of the damage comes in after the fact. I remember in the early seasons of Onslaught, the Foch was such a nightmare to deal with for people because no one really understood exactly how the ability worked and paid attention to it, so they would just sort of panic and shoot these Foch Bs, and they'd be like, why do they have infinite HP?
Oh, those Foch Bs just keep healing. Maybe 4-0 is Lumen though. I'll take it back.
Well, they've got 3 match points at the very least.
That's yeah. That's not looking good for Yogurt. They'll try to hold it off with an IS-4, double type, an E50M, a 140, and double 430U.
Weekend double type 5, 140, Foch B, triple E4. They just changed one of the type 5s to an IS-7, so IS-7, I think this is... It might be the same lineup they played in the match against W already. I think the IS-7 just sits passive on the 0 line, from what I remember.
Yeah, I think I remember something like this as well. HP-wise, Yogurt starting off with a big lead almost. Look at that.
Yeah.
All 3,000.
Can you actually use that HP lead though, is the question. And trade it effectively. Kano going aggressive down the rails, just trying to spot in his 140, see what he can see. He gets spotted actually, but doesn't... Oh no, he spots out the other 430U from the 0 line. Some of the angles that you can get on Ensk are kind of funky with how the rest of the map interacts with each other. But Yogurt, they are just going straight up for the push here. The Type 5s are being sent forward first. Trash Panda is going to be under pressure here in his IS-7.
This IS-7 now getting pushed, but we've seen that tank play in that position. It's pretty tough to kill him effectively. Usually it's done with tanks with high pen like E4s, and I don't think YOLO and Liquor really have a good shot because they're moving on from this. They're marching on towards evil. 3,000 lead turns into 1,000 deficit for Yogurt. The price to march across these positions. Trash Panda now getting pushed by the double 430U and Lovey as well. The strike hits home on 3. That's big damage, but now can Yogurt do something off of this? Trash Panda is down and out. The repush coming out from Hellrap and Sunshine towards 0 line. That may not be it whatsoever as Hellrap takes 2,000 to the face. Aphrodite will fall, but the deficit that Yogurt was in is now turned back around. Down to that play from Hellrap there. That crossing absolutely unnecessary for his team. Potentially a little bit of nerves coming in as well. Now Invo says thank you very much to Hellrap and Sunshine for putting themselves into those isolated positions as Lovey comes in with a shot. Invo finds another, and now Weekend are not looking like they're going to close it out in a simple fashion with a 4-0 scoreline, but it's not over just yet. But you can see a 140 versus an IS-4. Kano needs some help. The double type 5 on a one-shot, and Clowns are coming to chase, but still, it is a lead for the side of Weekend, for Yogurt against Weekend. With just 2 tanks left standing, it's not looking good. Yogurt, they make that field push, they bleed the damage for the crossing, but they hold on when it matters most.
Yeah, if Kano managed to get away there at the end, get around that corner, perhaps they could have made some kind of magic happen. But now, as they close in, Type 5 of Liquor picks up an important kill, combining with Immoreal and his 430U, who's still alive, the last of the mediums, the last of the DPM machines to be left alive, and Liquor and Ramadek largely ignored by the rest of the Weekend team. And finally, Yogurt get to play a battle with all 7 people alive from the beginning, and crazy, they win the round. If all else fails, just push into your opponent, and you will have great success.
Yeah, they used the Type 5 extra HP to push in. You know, they had that 3,000 lead from the start just based off of the tanks, and by the time they actually reached, there was no lead, there was a deficit. But then they find that IS-7 with the 0 line push, and then Weekend makes the mistake, right? That push across from Sunshine and Hellrap.
Yeah,
doesn't
I think
really give them anything.
Yeah, they felt like they wanted to reinforce the houses, but the better option is to just bait and crossfire, right? Rather than just going straight into the lion's den because they pretty much just drove straight into all of the medium tanks. And an interesting choice, actually, we should say. Was it double 430U plus 140? 430U is not, it's not super fashionable in the current meta. It's the other Fury ability tank, the DPM ability medium, along with the E50M. But the E50M has become way more popular just because of the buffs that the tank got since 2.0. More DPM, more mobility, more armor as well.
So, Siegfried Line coming out. That's a map Yogurt has played a lot, no? It feels like they play a lot.
No, it's definitely one of their more played maps, probably like 7 or 8 times. But I think, regardless of how many times they've played it, I think we both remember it for these sort of surprising clutch rounds they had, both against Cashback and against W, where it looked like they were in a pretty horrible situation. They were just getting farmed, but then one decisive push just makes all the difference.
Now, it's 3-1, Moff. Weekend still has a massive advantage, though.
They do, but I mean, at least Yogurt have pulled it open just a crack. They've just got their foot in the door, and this is one of their preferred maps. So if they can, you know, they could potentially snatch 2 back. It's going to be difficult, but there is at least a possibility now. They sort of half weathered the storm events, right? They would have liked to take it 2-0, but I mean, at least the game isn't over.
Do you believe Yogurt can do more?
I think they can win Siegfried 2-0. I definitely have more faith in it than I did in the previous map.
They would need the 2-0. Anything else is
Elimination.
not enough. Yeah.
Well, technically, I mean, if my math is correct, they're technically
It's already over.
eliminated based on number of rounds. But okay, that's an interesting turn of events. A completely different philosophy in meta from Yogurt. Double 60, triple 60 TP. Oh my, plus double 57, an E50M, and a 140.
They're facing off against an IS-4 Quad Type 5 Heavy, a 1-1B, and a Blitzkowitze, though.
Yeah, I mean, the 60 TP, in its heyday, really annoying tank to deal with. Still is to an extent, but this is Godzilla's time. Like, what we see in 60 TPs for?
I don't know, you tell me, Moff.
Maybe it's, I don't know, maybe they think it's going to be more difficult for them to deal with, because the Type 5 is, you know, as powerful as the buffs were, and it's got all this HP, and technically it's got armor buffs, but it is still just an armor box, right? Whereas a 60 TP can be a little bit more awkward to deal with in terms of the armor angles, the parts of the tank that you can aim at in order to pen. So perhaps they think that's going to throw Weekend off a little bit.
We'll have to see. Liquor now spotting out Sunshine. Sunshine actually gets the first one. Hellrap's taking the strike, so they can't deny the strike. That one is guaranteed. Love now moving in towards the strike by himself on that eastern side. Clownzik pushing up as well. Ramadik taking a shot from behind. These Type 5s actually peeking, trying to maximize the damage onto one target. They're not able to do that right now. In return, they actually take a lot. There is this 160p of info that needs to get out of there because he's getting owned from the 4-line guys. He's pushing forward, but he's in a lot of trouble. He's down towards a one-shot. That's that 1-1B. Blitzkowitze and the IS-4 repush as Invo try to get out of there. Will not. Aphrodite now getting pincered as well from 2 sides. That Weekend, I think they're going for the knockout punch here. It may have not been on ends, but this first round of Siegfried Line, the kills are in their favor and about to be heavily in their favor as double 60p drop towards the one shot. Sunshine is the one to pick up one, and Evil is the one to pick up the other, and we can wipe this cap play off the map rather quickly, rather effectively as well, and will put the pressure back on W as Weekend is about to close out the match 4-1.
Yeah, that's going to raise the temperature on that next match that we've got coming up for today. But at the moment, this is Weekend's time. This is their moment. Their time in the sun, on those palm trees, on the beaches, potentially this could be enough for them to lock themselves into those playoffs.
4-1, you know, extending it, and by the way the match went, fair as well that they end up winning it out. So good stuff there from Weekend. A good round, mature round. The 60p looked interesting, but when you're faced off against that amount of Type 5s and HP, it's pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, I like, you know, I mean, I like the experimentation for sure. It's always interesting to see a team take us in a slightly different direction. And I did think just for a moment, like maybe they could do something with that. But I think this was possibly lost more positionally than the fact that it was 60ps.
It's hard to stop those Type 5s just peeking out and trying to make a kill, though.
Yeah, especially when they got so much HP. It's a tough place to be. And 60p as well is also not like one of the highest pen guns, making it like a little bit awkward to deal with for the pen rates being highlighted here by our observer. Yeah, pretty flawless across the board almost. I think there's only like one bouncer.
Yeah, just really solid stuff from Weekend altogether. The Bliska coming in as well, doing a lot of damage with that tank together with the 121B as well. No, good stuff from Weekend. They put the pressure on W, and we talked about it last time around. W definitely has the harder road towards the playoffs. Need to win both their matches. They need Weekend to lose the last one.
Yeah, Weekend, they'll be really chuffed with winning this match, because do you know who they're going to play in the last match? Phase 2.
No.
It's Hit and Run. So probably the hardest opponent that you could come up against. So they'll be
question is,
they'll be pretty glad.
Question is, Moff, how much will it matter for Hit and Run to still win that match?
Probably not very much, but I mean, you know, competitive integrity and all of that, I suppose.
I mean, nobody's forcing you to use your best strategies.
I suppose, but you know, right, like you rightly say, Hit and Run, they'll have further priorities in the future, right? To, you know, with the playoffs around the corner, and then WCI as well. So, you know, strat saving probably would be in full effect by that point.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're Hit and Run, it's not like they're just like throwing the match, you know, but nobody say they have to play it up to their absolute best of their capabilities. That's the thing that could happen. And also, Moff, let's say you are the Hit and Run team, right? Think about it this way. Now, like, think about it this way. If you are in a position where the match against you decides whether W makes it to the playoffs, potentially making it all the way to the finals, which they've done the lower bracket run before, or you demoralize them before they ever even get to China by not making it to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I can see what you're hinting at in that situation, and for Hit and Run, like being the team in like the prime position right now, it's like a really, really comfortable place to be. And you know, W have kind of been, like, I wouldn't say they've been the bane of their existence, but like Hit and Run have been, like, their attempts to be the champions have been scarpered like more than a couple of times by that team. So you know, if you can knock them out right here, right now, then you better do it.
See, that's what I'm saying, of like if you're Hit and Run, you know, it's, you know, you got to think about more than just OLS, right? You got to think about WCI as well. And when one of your main competitors is on the rope, you don't just throw them a lifeline and be like, you know what, here, Frugo, we'll help you out. We'll just quickly smash Weekend for you. You know, at the end of the day, you got to take the points, right? I think it was Season 1 Moff as well, where a match between Hit and Run and Mafia decided whether W would go to the playoffs or not. So that is still speculation. First, W would have to win their match that's coming up. But before we get there, let's take a look at some replays.
got nothing to say. Let's roll.
Well, hello there, and welcome back, everybody. And you know, originally I wasn't going to, but here I am, dressed up because we might be watching a burial, Ducky. The burial of W's hopes and dreams to make it to the AMD OLS Season 4 playoffs.
That wasn't very nice, was it?
Well,
and they say I'm the toxic one.
What am I supposed to say, really? It's like, that is exactly what we might be watching because, well, W, as many accomplishments as this team has had in the past, you know, right now they look like they can be hurt, and, you know, Hit doesn't really look in the mood right now to be losing any matches.
I talked about it with Moff, right? What if the last match matters for Hit and Run to knock out W from the tournament? They could also make it so that doesn't matter at all by knocking them out here.
Exactly, like, yeah, you can talk about it all you want, about, like, saving strategies, because arguably Hit and Run are safe, but also they probably want to secure that spot in first place of the regular season, just to have the better seeding for the playoffs, right? And then also, W is a team that has proven in the past that even if they're seeded in the lower bracket of the playoffs, they can still make that miracle run, surprise everyone, and end up winning everything. Look back at Season 2.
Yeah, exactly. So there are no strangers to lower bracket runs altogether. So if you're Hit and Run, you want to knock them out here. If not, then it's possible next time around, next round, to knock them out that way. It's all part of the game, isn't it?
It's all part of the game, and Barbarian's been playing that one very well. That's why he was just shown here on the stream. Community predictions. Well, let's say 3-1 basically. 75 to 25% roughly in between Hit and W. Although I think that's a little high for W personally, because the form that both of those teams are in, it's absolutely crazy what Hit has been delivering.
Yeah, they have been performing across the season, but still 25% in favor of W. That's the last little bit of hopium there in their predictions. Probably Baby on his alt accounts predicting furiously for them. They can still make it. They can still make it somehow, you know.
I mean, you know, it probably gets even worse for Baby, because he was predicting 4-1 for, 4-0 for Weekend, and then, you know, it goes 4-1, so not even his prediction coming through. Anyway, though, map pick and bans in this best of 7. So Cliff and Sand River are going to get taken out of the equation. We are going to start off on Siegfried Line. Then we are going to go in towards Ensk, which is quite a curious pick by W, because Hit have not minded playing Ensk at all. Himmelsdorf, also extremely brawly map being picked by W, so they're not afraid, at least, to go up close and personal against Hit and Run. And if this goes to tiebreaker, then it would be Westfield. However, tiebreaker is a situation that I don't think W can even afford at this point.
I don't know. I'd have to check the rankings, but I don't think they can afford a tiebreaker, no.
No,
so they
I think Weekend should be ahead 7 points, and that means that, you know, W needs to win the both following matches cleanly, because they lost against Weekend in the direct comparison. So as soon as Hit gets to that 3rd point, they would be, I think, I might not be correct about it, but I'm pretty sure they would be knocking W out of the OLS with that, even though there is one more day to play, which is kind of crazy for the team that has won the competition back-to-back. Predictions, talking about hopium, I mean, realistically, the three of us, Moff, you and myself, we're going with 4-1s and 4-2s for Hit, respectively, and then Baby, the odd one out. Is it hopium, or is he trying to catch up to us?
No, it's hopium, to be honest. It's that last bit of hope, you know, hanging on.
Scraping the barrel.
Yeah, it's like, it's the Titanic, and Baby's currently dragging the water, and he knows there's room on the door, but she won't let him on.
Well, let's see. if Hit are going to leave that door open for W, or if they're going to slam it right shut in their faces. Siegfried line, it has undergone a development throughout the season when it comes to meta. At the start, it was being played extremely slow. However, that has changed recently, and I don't think it's about to change here, because W, they look like they're in the mood for a fist fight. Triple Bluskavitsa together with a 140, an E50M, an E100 of all things. Haven't seen a lot of those around, and a BZ75, never mind double BZ.
Hit and run, IS4, quad type 5, a 140 and a VZTD. Interesting note, key hand on the W lineup. Somebody's missing.
That is true. The cook himself is not here. Maybe he's Discord leading? Maybe he's just trying to focus on that, because realistically, last playday, his plays haven't looked entirely that hot, especially thinking back towards Ensk. Let's see what W are able to do without the man himself.
Maybe he just got kicked out of the kitchen. That's also a possibility, but in the meantime, the BZs and Blitzka moving towards that cap, immediately Squeezy taking the strike. IOS playing up front, but he will take a shot immediately, and these BZs, they're boosting, but where's Nepal going? He's into the arms of a waiting Type 5 hit squad, and yes, the Blitzkavitzes are hitting their shot on Panzer Fury. Monster with the block, making Nepal a one-shot. He will survive, however, so it doesn't change anything in the grand scheme of things, but now somehow they need to recover off of this. A strike will come in. Will it be enough to kill Panzer Fury? Yes, it actually was. So the shooting is there from W, and now the 140 and the WZTD are quite far out of the fight. They're going for Monster. It's best to just shoot at this point anything they can. Keep that Inspire rolling. Keep those Blitzkavitzes pumping as well. Squeezies in the thick of it, but there's already the Blitzkavitsa bounce. Those Type 5s, they're annoying, and the 140, the WZTD, they're arriving. Drakefa will not be able to escape. DJ finds a shot. Squeezy now trying to get out of there by his own lonesome. He's running around, but getting chased down by Ketsai. It's a 3000 HP lead for Hit and Run, but quickly some damage coming out from W, trying to bring this back, and if Squeezy can live here, that would be huge. He disengages the whole way.
Indeed, and now Ketsai going to be the focus in between Ios and Klurf, but Ios being focused out by Barbarian, who's coming from the sidelines. Ketsai with the damage reduction. Is he going to get the shot in towards Ios? It doesn't seem like it. He turns around, but he doesn't score. Ios stays alive, but just for a second, it's down towards the 3v3. The HP not that far apart here, actually. And Itox with that Blitzkavitsa, does he get the connection? Nope. Only the track shot on towards Monster. Barbarian with the shot in towards Squeezy. And now W, they're trying it. They're trying really the best. Good shot by Klurf and towards Monster to put him on a one-shot, but he actually might get shot down. Barbarian holding the shot. He's still reloading. Klurf with the reload from the Bluska coming in. He gets shot down by Barbarian, but now Itox with the chance. Squeezy on a one-shot off screen.
Barbarian is going to get around the wreck. Itox is not able to do it. Barbarian looking for the shot now. Needs to peek from behind the IS4, behind the Type 5 wreck, and I don't know if he can actually do that. I don't know if the wreck isn't too tall for the IS4 to actually get a shot. Itox now looking to peek from one angle. Squeezy holding the other. He's proxy spotted, which is very, very rare in Onslaught to see something like that. Barbarian turns around, wants to get the shot. He doesn't. He misses, and it will be W picking up the first round on this Siegfried line with a combined HP of 373.
It feels like already both teams have dropped the gloves completely, Ducky. That is something that went off the rail from the start to the finish. Holy moly, from Nepal boosting into Type 5s with, well, the BZ75. That is certainly not the best opening in towards just a brutal carnage on Siegfried line. With the better end for W, for now.
For now. A lot of things happened in that battle. Nepal started it off, but they actually recovered off of it. I mean, he did only hits of Klurf with 7,000 damage.
And I don't even think there's any strike damage in it. Nope. It's just pure damage coming out from that Polish TD gun. And I mean, for Hit, it looked good for the longest time just because they were starting with so much HP on those Type 5 heavies, but I guess the focus fire on the W team together with that DPM that even got boosted on the Bliskowitzes and the E50M, just too much at the end of the day. So when it matters most, W, without Frugo, mind you, start showing up. But those are the kinds of rounds where you're never able to guarantee a win. That was, yeah, firing on all cylinders by both teams, but those are the kinds of 50-50 rounds, right?
I mean, there's a lot of stuff there that, you know, could have gone one way or the other. Katsai getting rammed by Klurf, making it so he's sideways, making it so he can't kill the E50M of Ios and dies, is a big moment there, for example. Phase 1, yeah, with hit and run wiping the floor with W. This time around, it's impossible for W to lose 3-0 because it's best of 7, and they picked up the first round.
Exactly, but they need to not only double, but quadruple that one up if they want to keep their hopes and dreams alive of making it to the playoffs. And they also need to count on some help of the team that they are fighting currently, right? Because Weekend, their last match of the season, on Thursday, is going to be against Weekend as well.
Well, can't say that they're not going to try their very hardest to at least extend it until the last playday.
It would certainly be a showdown, albeit an onslaught, not a Clan 1 pun, not intended here. But yeah, let's see what we are going to get in round 2 of W fighting for OLS survival.
Round 2 of Siegfried Line. What can W still cook? I mean, this round they really wanted to go aggressive. I think they even got surprised by the guns being in front of them. And it could have all ended right there.
W, I mean, going a little bit away from those Bliskas, right? A singular BZ-75 together with one Bliska, quadruple E4 and an RHM. We haven't seen too many light tanks being played on Siegfried so far.
No, hit and run in return, BZ, IS-4, quad type 5 and a 140. The HP deficit is going to be significant in the beginning.
How much is it going to be is the question. I think
4K?
It's about to be revealed. Well, a little more than 4K even. That looks like 5 and a bit. As the plane by Klurf actually pretty good. 6 tanks immediately spotted. So W, they know what they're up against. Good shot, though, in towards Itox. I believe that was Franek who immediately gets to the first charge of his ability, but takes some damage in return.
He gets a level 3 Inspire out of it, though. And there's no Inspire available for the side of W. Hit and run spots this out now as well. Oof. T-Sec crossing over takes 1.5k. Some damage being traded. Itox taking some as well. Across the board, W taking some, but hit and run just kind of relocating back towards here. It's like they want to take this fight, but so far that, you know, 6,000 lead that hit and run has, it has started going down a little bit. Nonetheless, Mentos needs to be careful though, because he's the one that's currently a little bit isolated there on the strike, but he's backing off, so is not going to allow himself to get caught off guard.
Yeah, Ios now, I mean, still ahead in the trades against Barbarian, right? He got the first shot off, and with that E4, you're obviously able to deal more alpha damage. Now, though, hit and run with that bulk of armor and HP starting to push forward. Pan's Fury going on towards the artillery strike here. That's obviously still on cooldown, but I think W realized that they're up against even more meat, even more steel on the lineup of hit and run. Some good shots coming out, good marksmanship by the players of W, but it is still a mountain to climb, a mountain of HP. That is Katsai now trying to steal the info tower as well. Klurf uses the plane. Does he get the reset? Yeah, that was an HE shell. So Katsai for now not able to take that one, but Klurf unable to get a replane out of it.
Yeah, but Katsai opts to leave. I mean, I think you should have realized that Klurf doesn't get a replane out of an HE shell, but nonetheless, Klurf gets the information tower, and now W is starting to back away from that eastern fight altogether.
Oh, Katsai taking 2 E4 shots to the face, and the BZ-75, of course, not one of those tanks with damage reduction. He can reheal maybe a little bit, and Klurf, of course, with the spotting tower, was able to understand that this artillery strike in the east this time is ripe for the take-in. just as Barbarian is also going to pick up Hit and Run's first strike. Oh, Clerv getting spotted though on the way out, but the HE shell by Ketsai doesn't connect. It's just going to be an APCR by Franek.
And Franek still sitting on that level 3 Inspire, so it doesn't really change anything for him altogether. W now backing off, and let's be honest, Gihan, there's something here that is already worth mentioning, because it's Siegfried line. W is leading by a lot.
Yeah, W is leading tremendously when it comes to the damage dealt department, and of course if no kills end up being done at the end of the game, then W would be currently winning, but it is still over 6 minutes to go, so a lot of things can still change here, but the round is a certain switch up from the absolute carnage that we saw in the first one on Ghost Town. Now, both of those sides also, I think they're going to try and build up strikes and strikes and strikes. Hit and Run, I think they realize that they cannot really push over the open, because the RHM could be taking that one, and good shots and good spotting by Clerv here. Gets the level 3 plane out of it. Franek in one strike. Mentos has a second one. Normally, you would be using it to kill the 140, but Mentos doesn't look like he's in the mood for that one. Oh, there we go. Franek respotted. Is Mentos going to use it? Does he realize that he has a strike right now?
He might be waiting for Mentos to for Franek to stand still altogether. But yeah, it's well and truly ahead. Clerv still has the radio tower available.
I am not entirely sure why they didn't use the strike on towards Franek, but of course Clerv still holding on towards that radio tower. It is a looming threat. It is Damocles' sword that's over Franek right now, as Ketsai takes another big shot here. Clerv playing a really good game in that light tank, just able to force out the mistakes from Hit and Run, who are basically even in HP now, despite starting over 5,000 HP up.
Yeah, Hit and Run has to do something. They don't have a choice.
I mean, the only thing that W could be doing wrong right now is something we saw them doing wrong on Siegfried Line before, and that is getting complacent. If they make that mistake again, then maybe Hit and Run are going to find a way back into it, but I don't think W are in the mood for doing that mistake today, at least not when we take into account how the first round went. Good shot from that E4 on the 3 line.
W now ahead of an HP, so about 6,000-7,000 up in terms of damage dealt at this moment in time. They've run a number on a bunch of tanks from Hit and Run, especially
again
Franek.
Spotted, by the way. Keep in mind, I think that was the spotting plane probably coming out, and Franek, of course, going to have to move. He gets unspotted. Mentos once again holding on to the artillery strike. You gotta wonder at this point in time, does Mentos realize he's still holding it?
I mean, he should. And if not Mentos, you know, it also shows in the team list.
Yeah, I guess Clerv once again not taking the info tower. He does end up reset. He does end up getting reset, is what I meant. But Monster on the far side taking yet another shot by an E4. Those E4s have been doing a number of those on those Type 5s. A Squeezy and Jakova push through the city. A strike goes down. It's going to hit home on not one but two E4s. So Hit and Run getting a little bit of a breath of fresh air. But considering the hole they've dug themselves into, maybe that's not enough.
Mentos put the strike.
Taking one.
Mentos put the strike, finally. You know, you could see that he put it by the fact that he said it taken the ID strike yet again. They find Franek. You were wondering if Mentos realizes he has it. He does. They secure the kill. And with that, I mean, I'm not going to say the round is over, Kihan, but it's looking rather good as IOS hits another shot against Monster, who's now one strikeable as well. Not sure if Mentos realizes this time around that he has another kill opportunity. He might see it, he might not. He does see it, finds his second, and together with Clerv, he'll find the third kill of the round even. And with that, let's say this one's gonna go W's way. Siegfried Line 2-0.
Absolutely. 4 tanks only remaining on the Hit and Run lineup, and where the first one was an absolute fist fight, absolute chaos, this one was very, very controlled by W. I think Hit and Run was sort of expecting for W to drive at them again. They didn't really expect this very controlled measure approach that W had in round number 2, and that is more like the W that we know from the past seasons, right? Where they're absolutely unpredictable, always a step ahead of their opponents, where you cannot expect what's going to happen. And yeah, W displaying 2 good rounds. They need 2 more without dropping 3.
Good stuff from W. Very good stuff. Now the question is, can they continue on this forward as well? It would be a great motivation for them if they were to win this 4-0.
Absolutely, and wow, IOS stepping up. That is 10 shots of damage coming out of an E4, 7.5k. Not too shabby, but across the board, I think W together as a unit, not losing a tank, and I think especially Clerf with the planes creating the openings, creating the opportunities for his teammate. And on the other side, the back-to-back WCI champion Monster not looking too good.
Yeah, but, you know, driving through layers of E4 with a Type 5 is not very fun, though.
I think there are definitely more fun things to do in World of Tanks than driving into a crossfire of E4s, yeah.
Now, moving on to Ensk, though. W needs to split this 1-1.
At least. I mean, in theory, they need to win it 2-0, right? To be secure after Ensk already. The thing is, though, like, if there is one team that tends to lose their own map picks and then comes back 2-0 on the opponent's map picks, then it's hit. And I'm going to keep being the devil's advocate here. Because, you know, we also saw hit in the last playday. So 2 days ago, we saw them going down 0-3 against their Polish brothers of Mafia. And then you look away for 20 minutes and all of a sudden Hit just won the match 4-3 in tiebreaker. You can never count them out.
Kind of looks like W at some point, if you remember. They were also down last season, like 3-0, I think, against Hit and Run, or the season before, and then ended up winning, you know, 4-3 or you know, coming back from it. So it is possible. And Hit and Run's done it recently, but W needs this match. Certainly.
It is imperative for W to take this match. If they don't, or even, you know, to win it cleanly, not even go to tiebreaker. And they've put themselves into a very good position for this. I mean, you could not wish for a better opening than 2-0. They just need to confirm that this feat was not a fluke.
If they could win this round on Ensk, put themselves on match point, maybe the hype will carry them across the finish line.
And I think W is definitely one of those teams that thrive on, you know, being on the hype train. And I think that first round is really what helped them get into the match as well. If they lose that one, I think they're absolutely devastated. But through winning it, they're on such an emotional high that maybe it will help them even further.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, both of those teams, especially Hit, maybe with all their experience, are going to reset a little bit now after Siegfried Line, because at the same time, Ensk is also a map that plays very, very differently. Albeit the tank picks might be similar, but the playstyle is not. W coming in with double BZ75, a 140, triple Bluskowitzer, and a Force B.
Hit and Run in return. BZ, Type 5, 140, Force B, and triple E4.
Which lineup do you favor?
Probably the E4s, man. Bliska is hard to execute well, especially with all those corners.
I think I might agree with you on that one.
Like, the Bliska are great for pushing tank, but if they can't find a push, I don't know. I'd have to see.
Yeah, I think W's lineup is more situational. It can work well, of course, but Hit and Runs looks a little more rounded as Mentos boosting forward in that BZ75. Lucky for him, no one reloaded yet, so he's not going to take damage for that one. Hit and Run splitting up, though, sending 2 tanks to B0. The E4s are going to be aiming down the rails, and the rest of the tanks fancying themselves a little bit of the city, although Franek, after his spotting run, already running away, while Nepal is going to pick up the neutral objective. He is going to snatch that artillery strike.
Did Franek spot the tanks crossing?
I don't think he really did, although T-Sec might still be their undoing, because the Błyskawicza's not with the best pen for those tier 10 TDs, but this is something we don't see often. W actually able to take both artillery strikes plus an info tower, so Hit and Run still playing kinda blind. Ketzai now boosting forward. He knows that at least 2 tanks of W are going to be out of the game in the city, but there is no one really that could be supporting him. Mentos taking the first shot of the game. Squeezy, it's being followed up on him with that 140. He might end up getting caught because he cannot really keep crossing the triple Błyskawica of W. They need to start coming into the game. Ios stops first shot into T-Sec, but those are the Type 5s, those are the steel and meat of Hit and Run that they're currently focusing.
The strike will hit on all 3, that's important. They have another one of those. T-Sec, however, in trouble. He's going to die. He dies for free. The second strike now coming out will only hit on 2, but it's going to be damage nonetheless. Hit and Run is up 3000 HP, but remember, they have that heavy lineup still composition. They're trying to repush now into Błyskawicas, and this is where the Błyskawica thrives, though. It's a one-lane fight, one-dimensional, straightforward. The Błyskawica loves this. Jakieva takes all of the pounding, so his teammates need to follow up now with their damage. And can they do it? It does look pretty good for them right now. They're starting to close the gap a little bit, dropping tanks low, but they need to find a kill or two.
They need to find a kill or two. DJ would be ripe for the taking as he is squeezing to pick it up, but Ketzai converts on towards Clerf. Monster, the next one to get picked up, and W, yes, they're up in guns, but they're down in HP by 3000. This leads to Nepal falling, and this 140 from the sidelines might be their undoing. Franek keeps pounding those TDs of W that find themselves in this crossfire here. Panfury, though, very low, but I don't think W have it in them in this first round offense, just dropping too much HP early on.
Barbarian taking the strike, though. Squeezy almost getting rammed to death by Ketzai, but not quite. Barbarian has a strike, is going to be able to kill one of those Błyskawicas with it. Squeezy now trying to back away. Does he get away from Ketzai before Ketzai reloads? No, he doesn't. Ios finds Franek, though, and Jakieva from behind could find the kill. He does. The strike will return the favor, but it's 2-on-2 with Barbarian on full HP, coming around the corner, saying hello to Jakieva, finding the kill, finding the shutdown, and it's just the Itox left.
Yeah, Barbarian saying a dobry day, and I'm still the Foshby, and I'm still full HP with 4 shots to go. And now it is 2 tanks versus 1. There is only one way this way ends, to be honest. Like, even if Ketzai somehow gets caught, unluckily, Barbarian, there is no way that Itox can kill him.
Yeah, no, there's just no chance for that singular Błyskawica to do it. Where did it go so wrong for W, though? They found the first kill, they found a good strike damage. Where did they end up losing out?
I think it was a couple problems. One hit for W, one hit were able to spread the damage extremely effectively. Ketzai here getting spotted. Barbarian has an info tower, not sure why he doesn't use it. Itox with the kill here. But of course, Barbarian, I mean, he can just take an artillery strike and just nuke Itox from orbit.
Yeah, Itox cannot. There's no healing point. Maybe it's an idea at some point, you know, a healing point just to get like 400 HP back. So that you cannot die to a one shot of the strike. But right now, Barbarian's taking the strike, then he's going to the cap, and then it's trouble.
Let's see if the GOAT is also quick with the fingers to be using both of those things simultaneously to knock out Itox. I mean, Itox activating the ability preemptively. He wants to get more mobility out of this one. Barbarian, does he use the strike? He holds on to it.
Yeah, he holds on to it. He has so much advantage here. He is a what? 5 shot?
Ideally, right? Because Itox loses damage over
shot.
distance. But yeah, Barbarian, the GOAT himself, toying a little bit with his food. Maybe he also just doesn't want to look silly for missing the strike, but well, he certainly has the right idea. He's going into the right direction. The artillery strike, of course, doesn't even get triggered because he has one currently. And Itox looking the correct direction, but Barbarian doesn't miss those and hit. They get the first round on the board.
Yeah, they need that round. They needed it a lot. They will pick it up. They will make it 2-1. And look good for W at some point there, but a few issues.
A few issues. One, and I was starting to elaborate on it in the game already, I think the HP sharing in that line by the tanks of Hit and Run was completely on point. It was absolutely clutch. They had like 2 or 3 one-shots before the first one actually started going down. And 2, I want to highlight Franic's play. He went over in the 140, and he was continuously able to deal damage, even picked up a kill from his crossfire position, while he was being covered by his team. So essentially, I don't think W were really able to split off, for example, one of those Bliskovitzes to deal with the 140 and to get rid of the Inspire, which, well, ended up, I think, kind of costing them the game because it was amplifying the DPM to exactly the level that Hit needed.
Especially those tanks like E4, right? E4s have not very good DPM by themselves. However, paired with one of those 140s with an Inspire, and all of a sudden, it's not quite that bad anymore.
No, that 140 Inspire, especially on level 3, it makes the gun so much more comfortable to shoot. It makes the reload a lot better. So, yeah, Hit on W's map pick of all things now, get the first round on the board. And for W, you've got to wonder if they keep this, if they can keep it up, right? Firing on all cylinders, just completely being able to go ham round after round and to pull out performances. I mean, Siegfried Line 2, it was, I think, mostly down towards the Rheinmetall and the lineup. Siegfried Line 1 was just, you know, a 50-50 round with the better end for W. But here, Hit and Run for the first time in the match looked very much in control.
Yeah. Again, W. I like the W's opening. I still don't think Franic really spotted anything. Maybe he saw a wall knocked over at the back, because the way that ends works, even if you don't spot anything on the crossing, you can check for the walls at the K-line, and if you see one of them break, then you usually know what's up.
Although, I mean, you can bait with that as well, especially if you have something like 140 on your lineup. You can shoot the wall while driving to the other direction. Then you don't waste, like, the big alpha. So you can toy around a little bit with it. But, I mean, I don't think anyone's really been doing that so far.
And even then, you know, they would get the info from the field if that was the case.
Yeah.
You would assume that the field guys would see it, so...
Normally, yes. And I don't think low noise is currently meta on the ENSC 140.
Maybe not yet, Kian. You're such a 140 lover, maybe you should educate them on the ways of the 140 by the master himself.
I think even I can't sniff enough copium to put a low noise on ENSC on my 140. Alright, W. Once again switching it up though. Quadruple BZ. That is 5 Chinese tanks total, together with a Monkey King, so a 121B and a double Bliskovice.
Yeah, they're really practicing for China already. Hit and Run, double BZ, Type 5, Object 140, and triple E4.
Okay, once again, my question, which lineup do you favor? Because I have a definite favorite, and it's Hit because of those E4s once again.
Yeah, I would pick the E4s as well. However, this time around, W's lineup is still a pushing lineup, but it's a lineup that it needs to find one target.
I think it needs to find the 140 or the BZ75s. They don't really care about catching the Type 5, and the E4s are too annoying to dig out.
Meantime, though, look at this. Triple BZ was spotted, I think, from W on that field, and this time around it looks like Hit and Run is just kind of pressing W against these positions. Itox and Jakefa, I don't know if those two were spotted. I feel like they were, maybe they weren't, because they're engaging on towards Ketsai now. I hope they have AP loaded. They do find Ketsai on 2 shots, and Ketsai looks a bit surprised, so maybe didn't see that one coming. Mentos again taking a lot of damage in that BZ as Hit and Run moving on, wants to go for Nepal, and they're sending everybody for this.
Nepal needs to sell himself well, but I think Hit and Run have just called off the push here. They don't really want to commit in towards that crossfire that the double BZ has there, and it looks a little bit like a recycle from last season, just that the BZs were the Fosh Bs back then. Hold that thought though, Itox boosting over to the next building, going down towards one shot for this, and I think Hit actually have an artillery strike on Barbarian. Let's see if it is going to go down. There it gets marked. Itox is marked for death, and Nepal the next one to follow down. So Hit, they were quickly reconsidering, should we actually go for this? But then the opening presents itself and they take it absolutely.
They do. They find 2 kills. Itox, they're crossing over. Kind of nonsense, to be honest. Wasn't in a position to do that. Jakifa will make it out, but Ios with the Monkey King actually crossed over as well, so they'll lose another gun for that. They do find Monster and the HP. It's not terrible, but they're just losing too many guns for this. Franek finds the Monkey King, so the Inspire gun for the side of W as well, and it's Hit and Run with 2 extra guns, the extra HP as well. All of it is just not really looking good for them, and a quick affair for Hit and Run. A quick 2-0 match is all even.
And Hit do it in the most Hit way imaginable, losing their own map but picking up the opponent's map pick. And yeah, W unable to peel here from the opponents after this, well, disastrous crossing by the BZ75 on the W team. I mean, Jakifa, a little bit of style points for ramming the 140, but not much more to be won in this round than that. Because from this best of 7, we are all of a sudden towards a best of 3. But mind you, W still with the possibility of staying alive in the OLS, because so far, Hit have not managed to go to match point.
Not yet, at least, Keyhand. The last map, I think you're going to tell us which one it was, because you were able to cheat.
Himmelsdorf. I'm not even cheating, I just know it.
We cannot trust you.
Then check the sheet, it is actually Himmelsdorf. And
You've betrayed our trust too many times to fall for this once more. Map guide after map guide.
Oi, oi, oi. I wish I could tell you that the tiebreaker would be Cliff, but about that one I'm actually not sure. Beware of the base 4005 though.
Let me check for you. I don't think it would be Cliff though.
No, I don't think it's Cliff.
It is Westfield, if it comes down to it.
But yeah, Himmelsdorf should be map 3. First of all, though, damage numbers, and yeah, I mean, the shooting is once again going to be pretty good between those teams, and pretty good, I think, in the case of Hit for this round is an understatement. And I mean, certainly not shabby on the lineup of Hit of W either. If anything, it's probably better. It's just this unforced BZ75 cross that essentially gave Hit the opening. It looked a little bit like the nerves were failing W.
I mean, it looked like a call, you know, like crossover, make crossfire, but instead of actually making crossfire, it ends up he's dead on the crossing. I mean, he survives on a one-shot, but that's the same thing as being dead these days. The artillery strike just takes you out of the game for that.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe a call. Certainly just an unforced error, although it might, of course, not be his own fault. Like, if you don't follow the FC's calls, then, you know, you should be replaced. But yeah, a Hit, splitting Siegfried and Ensk 2-2 after all. This in turn means that W is with their backs against the wall. Hit need one more round, I think, to remove W from the OLS, even though there's one more day to play. And W, no mistakes allowed.
No mistakes. They need to win this 2-0 on Himmelsdorf. That's why they really could have used one of those Ensk rounds just to put them one round shy away from doing it. Now they're going to have to do it 2 times in a row.
2 times in a row. Are they going to be able to surprise Hit like they were able on Siegfried Line? Maybe W are going to come in with another one of those quick and brawly lineups to just try and catch Hit off guard. Maybe some T57 traps. I still think that there is potential with those, even though the skill got nerfed last season. We'll just have to wait and see. It is going to be a mystery to everyone until the lineups get revealed. But for it all to possibly end on Himmelsdorf, it is a pretty iconic map.
It is indeed pretty iconic. Many important moments were had on this map. Can W do it? It's a big question. They look better today than they have done for a while, though.
Yeah,
but that could be little. That could be little too late, though.
Okay, W, I mean, they are certainly in the mood once again for a fight. They have that 140 for the Inspire. I like it. What I'm not so sure I'm a fan of is 6 BZ75s. I feel like even with the 140, you're lacking a little bit of DPM.
We'll see. They have committed to it in return. Blitzkavitzes ×2, T57 ×2, and BZ ×3 for hit and run. They've got the DPM. They've got the burst. W, name of the game, they need to kill those targets.
They need to isolate and assassinate. Let's see if they're going to be able to. Nepal and Mentos boosting in towards the middle with those BZ75s, while the rest of the team is going towards the 3 line and hit and run. A very straightforward approach. The double 57 together with BZs driving into the middle, and good for W that Nepal and Mentos are stopping here because they would not be able to sustain against this kind of firepower.
Itox is actually spotting them out as well. How much damage gets taken on Mentos? He gets tracked and retracked potentially. No, 1.5k taken to the face, but they do get out of a pretty dire position. One more shot from Ketsai on towards Mentos. One more shot from Barbarian as well on towards Mentos. He's yet again the one in trouble. And hit and run continuing to push Mentos out in the open. Does he take one more? He does. He dies for going in the window. It doesn't get any better. The hopes and dreams of W, they're resting on the streets of Himmelsdorf, Nepal, surrounded an isolated mountain in the middle of nowhere, getting focused out. Jakefa coming in from the 5 line. They want to fight this, but they're already down again. They need to come back in. They don't have the DPM and they don't have the burst, but they have to try because their playoffs is decided right here, right now. They're still down 2 guns to start with, though. One gets traded off, but Itox now in no man's land, and those 57s, they're about to come off of reload, and they go pop, 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 and it will be Itox dead in a second. He's boosting away, trying to extend it once more. The HP getting awfully close yet again, but DJ off of reload, starting to find Itox, does find him eventually as well. Ios with the kill, but now hit and run, coming for the knockout punch.
Hit and run indeed. They're going for the throat. They're going for the killing blow here, and it looks like they're just about to get it up double the HP. The T57s are not being killed while they are reloading. Squeezy trying to do what he can in the 140, but there is only so much that a single shooter can do. Franix still 3 shots in the magazine, activates the ability. 1 shot into Jakafas Cupola, and the second one from Pan's Fury, so only Clerf and Squeezy remain. Squeezy still alive, but not kicking for much longer, probably. He puts Barbarian on towards a 1-shot, but hit and run, they just have too much HP. Good shot by Squeezy, but is it going to matter? No, because his only ally falls. Clerf is dead, and you were talking about W's hopes on the streets of Himmelsdorf. Well, I think they're just about lying in the dirt.
Yeah, I think the next look from W is onwards towards WCI, because for OLS they'll be on the spectating bench with 7 points difference between them and Weekend. 3 points and 4 points is simply not enough to overtake Weekend anymore.
And of course the match is not over. Hit and run, they still are playing for something here, because they are only 3 points ahead of Mafia themselves. If they can get the clean victory here, this means they would be locking themselves in as the first seed of the regular season.
Yeah, so it's looking good for them. I mean, locking them in after this match. If they win this match, they're not locked in yet, though.
I think they should, no? Because
I'm watching Wikipedia.
Before last playday, Hit was equal points with Mafia. Then they won in tiebreaker, so now they should be 2 points ahead. But if they win this cleanly, then there is 6 points ahead, and Mafia cannot catch up anymore, right?
Yeah, never mind. True.
But yeah, first of all, damage numbers. And here we can see W, they needed to get the jump on towards the team of Hit and Run. But those playing the Uno reverse, were immediately able to kill Mentos, then take Nepal out of the game. And with those BZs, yes, they have a lot of HP when they're moving as a blob, but I think the timing and the engagement, very unfortunate for W here, because Hit instead got the jump on towards that weak link, which was the double Bliska opening towards the middle.
You know what? Maybe,
Sorry, the double BZ.
Maybe,
Bliska.
Maybe the cook wasn't the problem.
If the cook isn't the problem, are you referring to the ingredients, or what am I supposed to take from this?
I don't know, maybe. It's like an open-ended statement, you know?
Mm. Well, Hit on match point now, and, I mean, W, what happens on the TeamSpeak after this?
Tears. Cope, usually the cope sets in first, you know, like the one like, hey, we're still going to China.
Mm.
We will take revenge in China.
Mm-hmm. Well, let's hope Jackifier is in the mood for sharing when it comes to the copium supply. There is at least one more, if not 2 rounds to be played, however. And, of course, the next one is still going to take place on Himmelsdorf.
Yeah, but there's nothing left to play for W except for Honor, Kihan. They're 5 points ahead of Yogurt. Yogurt cannot catch. So they're locked into 5th.
I mean, maybe all that remains is Victory Road for Hit here to lock themselves into that first spot. And to be honest, the first spot is an absolute prime position for the playoffs. You essentially have to win 2 matches and you're OLS champion. Like, people are saying the regular phase results are not mattering so much. I disagree. If you're first place, then you have only yourself to beat.
Yeah, I mean, sitting in the driving seat is nice, but sometimes it makes you a little lazy. Let's see if Hit and Run and W are opting for a quick nap. And this one, W 3 BZs, a 140 and triple E4.
And for Hit, we have the quadruple BZ together with double Type 5 and Franek, I guess, in his signature 140 at this point. Doesn't seem like he's playing a whole lot else.
No, doesn't seem to be that way. Towards 1-2 line we go from both sides. 7 by the looks from W versus 5. So not 6 and 7, but just 5 and 2 from the side of Hit and Run. Double BZ boosting towards the cap. Franek looking for the middle, realizes there's nothing going there. Cat's Eye needs to be careful in that BZ. There's a lot of E4s looking. He's like, let me get inside of this train station. Looks cozy. I'm gonna chill here. This is where I rest.
Ooh, good shots coming out from W here. Hit once again starting this game, of course, with an HP advantage, but that is a lot of information for Hit here, right? Mentos now starting to cross over in that BZ75. Takes a shot by Franek. And this does not mean in turn that Hit have the Inspire available. Only now does it start coming in, and Squeezy wants to be careful with destroying this wall here. So far, his whereabouts are not super known. His rough position is, but now Hit and Run starting to trade back here. And Cat's Eye boosting over with the BZ75 wants to force this 140 off the angle.
Barbarian and Panther Fury crossing over as well. They realize this rotation from W. Hit and Run showing that they're a team prepared to take any opening, and Squeezy right now is the one that's getting exploited. He backed away, but they burst off the cap. They burst off the 3-4 line straight into this 140. And yes, DJ's taking a lot of damage, but Cat's Eye is about to remove the first gun from the battle, and it's an important one. It's that Inspire. It kind of counts for 2 if you want to look at it that way. Franek now coming in with his 140, full HP, ready to rock and roll. Mentos not doing too much better. He's not had the greatest of runs this match either. Itox dead, and W's hopes of ending this with some honor seem to go down with them into the grave. It's Hit and Run taking it and taking it all, taking the clean sweep against W in terms of points. Gonna take all of them to secure themselves into the #1 slot of the regular season. It's going to be Hit and Run.
Yeah, W seemingly shattered and broken. The focus fire also not there. DJ still alive here. Barbarian finally the first one to fall for the hit lineup. So it's not going to be a 100% clean victory, but what matters is that Hit picks up the points cleanly. So congratulations to them for winning the regular season of the AMD OLS Season 4. A little bit of BM here maybe going on, but Franek with the ram kill adding insult to injury as Hit and Run eliminate W from the OLS.
Yeah, at least for this season. Since they're 5th, Keyhand, they are safe for next season, right? If I understand the rankings right. So at least they have that to hold on, and they still have WCI coming up, but W has a lot of things to improve between now and November 22nd. Yeah, November 22nd.
Not a lot of time, right? 11 days.
Yeah, they're leaving. When are the players traveling? Yeah, the 17th, 18th?
I think they're arriving on November 18th. Of course, they are going to be met with training facilities there as well in China, but it certainly isn't a lot of time until then. No.
No, it's not. It's not going to be the greatest vibe going into WCI. At least they get to train now all the time, I guess, and I guess the playoffs teams are going to be happy, you know, to train. I guess W will get to train against whoever they want for the WCI right now, because the playoff teams don't care if they train.
Yeah, exactly.
Train against W is the best possible outcome for them because they can't meet them anyways.
Well, I mean,
silver linings.
If you're looking for a silver lining, I mean that one is.
It's not even far-fetched though.
I don't think it's a consolation for the team of W right now.
No, it's not great for. I mean, it's the best case scenario for W. It's not great at all, but it's something.
Anyway, you know who's going to be happy? Apart from the Hit team, of course, right now. Weekend. And rightfully so. Weekend reward themselves with a playoff spot, which is not something
we would have expected.
You know, anyone saw coming before the season, maybe except for themselves. But like talking about, you know, bad surprises, underperformances, which arguably, you know, W's was this season. Weekend certainly a positive surprise.
A positive surprise for Weekend. We are not done yet for today. We've got one more match, and this one is of some relevance as well, let me tell you, because Mafia and Cashback, it's undecided which one is going to be number 2 in the regular season. But before that, we still have a little bit of replays, and then we'll get right into the action.
Onslaught Legends series Season 4 is here. But Liberty finds Jockey, and Katsai, the last one for his team, will not be able to pull the 1v3.
Onslaught Legends Series champions will be Cashback.
They do complete the Cinderella story.
Finds Akka and it's Twilight and Liberty left wondering because it's not going to be the Ukrainian team of Cashback. It's going to be W from the Fits of Hell coming through the lower bracket.
Akka blows up as well, and W completed 6-3 2 times in a row. OLS champion. I think Moth Mafia are on victory street here on Himmelsdorf. They completely rewrite the map and rewrite all of the scripts that everyone had. It's going to be them taking the finals in a 5-1 fashion.
Tune in to the action, September 30th through November 9th.
Hello there, and welcome back to the last and final match of the day. And Moff, you really gotta love what Hit and Run did their last match. They were like, call an ambulance, but not for me.
Yeah, the momentum at the beginning of that last match that we just saw, it started going everything W's favor, right? Which is exactly what that team needed. But the crash, the bump back down to reality, and I think, you know, just before we get onto this match, I think it was a little bit too late for W to make this sort of surge towards the back end of the season, and they couldn't really have picked a tougher opponent to play against to have it be required for you to win a game. And I just loved the BM at the end from Hit and Run, just sending their rivals for WCI a message, just letting them know, letting them know what's up.
It's not about the money, it's about sending a message, and that one certainly has been received. Now towards the final match of the day, though, it is two very achieved teams. It is the previous OLS champions of Cashback going up against the European first seed for WCI, going up against this Polish squadron of Mafia.
Yeah, and you know, this match is all about the seeding. Like consequently, compared to the other matches that we just saw, you know, it's between Weekend and W who's going to get that final playoff spot. But it's pretty a low stakes match if you think about it for both of these teams. Ultimately, it's all about that seeding for the playoffs, right? Because it's a double elimination format. You don't want to be the fourth seed because that means you're immediately up against elimination in your first game. Like, ideally, you want to be seed number 1 or number 2.
I mean, to be honest, the team in fourth seed, Weekend, is going to be pretty happy to be there regardless, especially after not even the final day of the phase 2, but look at that DPG Orzhik coming in with almost 4,000. I mean, it's not even 4K if you catch my drift, but it is still impressive.
Yeah, it's definitely very good, and I think it's interesting discussion around Mafia is pretty much every other team has a defined role of who is the Inspire player, but the interesting thing about Mafia is that it's not always the same person. Like, sometimes it's Profuse, the team captain, which is a bit weird, to be honest. If you think about it, that you would put the team captain on the Inspire tank, it doesn't really make that much sense, to be honest. You'd probably rather have someone like Orzhik doing it, but they seem to share the responsibilities.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of being able to specialize on the different kinds of maps. Just get so much more training and expertise into the specific positions, because realistically, being able to play a Type 5 or a BC75 well is a good thing, but I think the 140s have absolutely been the difference makers this season. A passing mention also going towards the fact that Cashback, one of the very few teams that are only playing with an 8-player roster. Of course, that means every player is getting a higher share of the prize pool as there's less people to split it with, but also, less people available in case someone times out. So you really need to be able to commit towards playing every single playday with all 8 players. Talking about pick and bans now in between this, well, a little bit of a show match because we're going to get it again in the playoffs here. This time around, though, only best of 7 compared to those best of 9s and possible best of 11s that we are going to see in the playoffs later. It will start off on Siegfried line, and we are going to go in towards Pilsen and then Ensk, and then possible tiebreaker. I didn't even catch it, to be honest.
Neither did I. To be completely honest, my mind is just blanked right on the spot there. Siegfried line is surprisingly become quite popular with the teams. Like, I think everyone was a bit skeptical about voting it in as like the map that would replace. I think it was Studzianki that it swapped out for, right? And like in the beginning, I think the skepticism was warranted because we've seen some of the battles, more than some of the battles. It's very slow and like a very snail's pace, and teams don't really want to like overstep because it's very easily punished. But I think I start to feel about Siegfried line the same way that I felt about Airfield at the end. Airfield being the old Airfield before the 2.0 changes, or it might even be before 2.0. Doesn't matter. I feel the same. Okay, as we see the lines, I feel the same way about Siegfried line as I think I felt about Airfield at the end. That the map, like, it can be very stale, but it's how you work within the restrictions.
Well, let's see. Cashback certainly with a game plan here. That is 5 autoloaders in the lineup. Triple T57, double Foch B, a Bliska, and a 140.
Mafia going BZ, W100, Type 5, 140, Bliska, E4. So single shooters versus the autoloaders. And W100, not a pick very commonly seen.
I mean,
it's still a very good tank though, isn't it? Like, the Type 5 became more popular, obviously, after the buffs. But the E100's armor is still, like, pretty, very, like, really powerful, to be honest.
Also, something that we haven't seen all season, really, is the big boomstick on the E100, because it does get higher pen against those Type 5s. Both of those E100s, though, running the small gun with the 530 Alpha as Twilight immediately gets found, but Barkus takes a beating in that Type 5 heavy. And now Rexa also having to move back after taking 1 shot of damage. Twilight already in the reload as Bark is starting to repeat, and now the E100s are also making their presence known. But Vladislav from the sidelines has something to say about those E100 peaks. Twilight, though, might be caught in between a rock and a hard place. The second reload comes through. He goes down towards a 1-shot, but the strikes come down as well, missing because the targets are dead before they land.
Yeah, Naka is going to be able to make Kono a 1-shot, but he's not going to fall because that strike just barely missed. Liberty will have to pick up the pieces, finding that kill, sniping from the back lines in the perfect position right now in the 140. Rexar pushing in, taking so much damage. The T-57's heavies, the burst fire that they can deliver. Suddenly you're full HP, blink and you miss it. He's dead and out of the round, and now Profuse has lost his battle buddy. He's got to run away. That 140, it's so important that you stay alive. Always your main priority, and Mindbreaker is on the hunt, but he might just give it up because the 140 is a little bit out of range. Liberty, the other 140 for Cashback, is moving in, and he's great right now. It's looking fantastic for Cashback as they have absolutely dominated. They've blitzed their way through all of this HP from Mafia.
Yeah, and Mafia looked very, very good throughout most of the phase 2, but the opening of this match is not going to be in their favor because Brainbreaker, while he's on reload, is still very healthy, has the ability, uses it before the shot connects. Vladislav still 2 shots in the clip. And good marksmanship makes both of those Profuse. He has been running ever since the battle buddy died in E3, and he runs all the way to A4, but ends up getting shut down. Cashback with the better opener, 1-0.
Yeah, just take more autoloaders than your opponent, and that seems to be the strategy for Cashback there. And you thought maybe at one moment Twilight overcommitted in that T-57 heavy. It just gave Mafia something to re-push into, right? It gave them a tank to try and pick up for free, but in doing so, they did get Twilight, but just take a look at all the damage they were taking in order to achieve that. Everyone was getting clipped. The T-57 heavies had rotated out. Liberty, I'm pretty sure, was shooting the whole time, just off-screen as well. And Aka actually comes top damage in that Bliskovica as well. The damage can really rack up on that tank. 800 Alpha, it's like a 10-second reload. It gets super underrated with the damage output it can deliver.
I think the Błyskawica are even the best DPM in the game if it's like very close towards the opponents, right? At least on tier 10. And then you see the difference, the other end of the scale, right? Kono only getting a single shot of damage out, so good focus fire coming out from Cashback. And yeah, Profuse, he was doing what he was supposed to. But I think the problem was just that Mafia was overestimating the power of those super heavy tanks. They were thinking like, yeah, we are E100s, we are Type 5s, we are rocking like 4,000 HP apiece. But when you come up against this combined firepower of triple T57 plus double Foch B, so not only the super crazy burst from the T57s, but also like the extended clips from the Foch Bs, and you're also up against this heat and APCR combination, you cannot really angle.
No, and especially when you want to peek into your opponent as well. I think maybe we could argue that there was a moment there when they initially wanted to go for Twilight, and they all stopped and gave a barrage to one of the other T57s instead. I think maybe they should have just ignored the two that were baiting in Crossfire, go on to Twilight immediately, and then focus out the rest, because when you don't have the DPM, you need to concentrate your fire all on towards one target, because the longer that your opponent can stall it out with those autoloaders, with the 140, the better chance they're going to have of winning the round.
I mean, essentially, if you're up against triple T57 and double Foch B, right, as soon as the Foch Bs goes on towards reload, the first reload, that is your window for victory or defeat. Because as soon as the double Foch B comes off reload and they still have HP to work with and to heal back, you're not winning the game, right? Because
yeah, if they get that first clip for free, and then they'll have tier 3 ability by the time they swing back around, you know you're in trouble.
Phase 1 score, by the way, Cashback also with a better end for that one, even though Mafia were able to keep pace with Hit for the longest time in this Season 4. Cashback with a pretty clear victory. So between some of those teams, it almost feels like sort of a rock, paper, scissors when it comes to, terms of play styles and which beats what. Although, of course, any of those teams can beat any of the other ones on, on a good day or a bad day for the opponent's team. Cashback have Mafia's number down a little bit, at least so far.
Yeah, so far. It's one of the hardest teams to predict, honestly, that this Cashback roster, because we really just didn't have a great sense of the pecking order coming into this season. But, they found their footing, unlike a certain other roster. And they even though they swapped out those players, they seem to be coming on strong and competing well with Mafia and Hit and Run. Cashback coming into this one with Type 5, 140, Ho-Ri, Triple E4, and Liberty in the RHM.
And Mafia, in turn, once again with the trusty E100s, two of them together with a BZ, a Type 5, a 140, a Blyska, and an RHM. So it's going to be light versus light tank. Some of the light tanks might be committing immediately. The plane by YOLO sees 4 tanks, so he does immediately get a replane out of it, and he thinks better of it than going towards the info tower. So he thinks he probably got enough. Bark's first shot of the game taken by him, though good one by Vladislav. Orzhek takes the second one to the face as well. Retaliation onto Akka is there, but the damage looking good for Cashback right now.
Yeah, those E4s are just supremely good at pre-aiming some angles. Liberty putting in a good shot towards Profuse. I think that YOLO suspects that there is a light anyway, because he saw that there was a Ho-Ri, and it's highly unlikely Cashback would play with a Ho-Ri in that position and not play with a light tank. Profuse almost certainly confirms that now, that it is a light tank that's been sniping away at him from the back of the map in A2 over there. But now that's a strike collected by the 140 of Brainbreaker, and so the map goes, I think we are going to get one of those stalemates.
I feel like Liberty is playing a super dangerous game there, though, because by resetting Profuse, he is essentially telling that tank.
Yeah, but
that,
they
played the wrong spot. They were thinking that Liberty was actually at the bunker when he isn't. So now a huge possibility wasted, actually, for Mafia, because Liberty, he was playing super dangerously, and that is maybe down to miscommunication on the Mafia lineup, because normally Profuse should be pinging exactly where those shots are coming from, and it wasn't the bunker. So a necessarily misplaced plane, maybe, by YOLO?
Maybe, but it's hard to tell, right? Because Profuse, Liberty can be moving all the time anyway. You're right that he's playing like a bit of a dangerous game, but you just see where he is in the middle of the open on the red line. It's not exactly obvious that he's going to be sitting right there. So unless Profuse goes, he's there immediately, playing him right now. You probably want to play in the bunker because that's more likely where he's going to be. I also like the Brainbreaker. They used the strike on 2 grouped up targets while he could, because he's the main guy. The 140 is the tank that that's collecting that strike. You can see him recollecting it again. So he wouldn't have been able to do that if he didn't use it already. So I think it's nice that he took an opportunistic strike to hit 2 in one go, and then just start collecting another one.
Info tower now being used by Cashback full. Info available while Mafia is on the rotation and arguably also a little bit on the back foot. Little here has felled the tree, so he has a little bit of control over the city rotations, but obviously the inhabitants of Siegfried Line very, very green in the way that they are decorating their city. A lot of trees he's not going to be able to spot through all the streets.
Yeah, we can see Liberty's position now. Just, completely unknown in the middle of the open, hiding in plain sight, one might say. And he is preventing that strike from being collected. I mean, Mafia, they did pick it up, actually. They went forward to E3 in order to get it with Orzhek, which cannot be seen by Liberty. But both these teams just playing extremely passive right now. Little's angle, I'm not even sure if he can reliably spot anyone crossing. The trees may or may not be blocking his view, but he seems to think that he will get a shot if anyone tries to cross. And the damage dealt right now on those all-important draw rules, it is slightly favouring Cashback, but given how close some of these games have been on Siegfried Line in the past, it's a bit too much to read into that right now.
I think the strike was just used on Brainbreaker because I saw the stun icon appear above his tank. So they are certainly aware where Brainbreaker is, Mafia that is, as the reason why they were using it is basically because Orzhek was trying to pick up the strike again. I think he just got reset. Good shot by YOLO. He sees Little in that hurry, in that ambush position. So that one, at least for now, has been spoiled. As Brainbreaker still holding on to his strike, and Orzhek in the E100 might be able to snatch this one, although I think he paid a little bit in HP as Liberty is starting to make his way on the one line. Conrad sees Twilight, and what he also sees is shell flying in towards his face. Good opportunistic peek by Twilight.
Yeah, that's great. And it's really weird. There's a Type 5 in F0. He's managed to push all the way down. And to be honest, there's not really anyone that can stop him from peeking this. It's just the RHM sniping from the back. There's a couple shots coming in now as Mafia try to stop him. And they do punish him, I'd say, like, decently well for that. But when in a Type 5, like, trading that 700 alpha gun, like, that's not a bad trade.
Vladislav also with another good shot into a crossing E100. He's just holding the angle, doesn't need to do more, although Twilight, I think, is being left out a little bit to dry, hang out to dry, that is, by his team. As we, the all-knowing observers, we see the rotations coming in by Mafia towards that 0 line. As of right now, I think only the 140 and maybe the Hori will be able to support that Type 5, although the targets that would be pushing onto the Type 5, and you have to call them targets at this point, are pretty squishy. Well, now the pincer comes in, strike as well, on towards those super heavies of Mafia. Good shot by Twilight, but behind him is the actual threat. It is the RHM, the 140 and the BZ, and you can see times are dire for Mafia because they are committing the RHM and the 140 to take damage immediately, but good pickup. They get the Type. They have what they came for.
Yeah, they did get the kill, but they took a lot of damage in the process, and Rexar seems to be the biggest loser of HP in that one. Vladislav thinking about pushing back forwards, but he realizes that he's crossfired, so maybe that's not the angle he wants to take, going down 1,000 HP kind of for free there as Little moves back forwards in his hurry, trying to get involved in the game. Perhaps not a rare, but the rotation from Mafia, they're not hanging about, they're going for the push. Aka is the next target they want to try and focus out. He's a little bit isolated. He does have Liberty in the light tank to try and cover his back, try and protect him. Profuse is flanking around the back, and Liberty is shooting him now. Aka peeking forwards. That's a double strike. Is that going to get the kill? No, it's not. It's going to take him down to just barely 100 HP. And Aka, will he get the reload off to be able to find the kill? It looks like he might just about get it before Profuse takes him down, but Profuse gets shut down with an Amarak by Little. It would have been a one-shot anyway, but still impressive nonetheless. And now the double heavy from Mafia in middle. They're getting crossfired. The 140 shooting them from the back. Mindbreak is going to peek them from the front.
Absolutely, Rexa and Bark is in between a rock and a hard place. Not Rexa anymore because he has bitten the dust, and now Little in that hurry pushing up together with Aka, who gets the kill on towards YOLO, and Kono now faced with the impossible prospect of trying to win against 3 tier 10 tank destroyers headed his way together with Liberty that misses. Rare occasion for him, a shot, but Little is there to pick it up, immediately reloaded again, but no more Mafia tanks to shoot. Cashback takes Siegfried line 2-0.
Yep, and it was an impressive display for sure. Mafia, they went for that kill on the Type 5, and they did get it to their credit, but it cost them so much HP, and you know, maybe they're starting to become a rule of he who pushes first on Siegfried line ends up losing the round, and that you know, that's what it felt like on the old airfield map as well. I don't know, that push from Mafia. The Type 5 was so juicy, it's so tempting to just try and get that kill.
2,700 strike damage, good ones by Brainbreaker. But yeah, overall, it just felt like Cashback were always a step ahead. I think Liberty on the field just gave them the advantage by locking down the strike, getting initial damage, forcing the plane out from YOLO. And then, I mean, that play by the Type 5 as well on the other side of the map. He ended up falling first, but Mafia were just sacrificing so much HP to get that Type 5 out of the game, and they were also sacrificing positions for it, like the double super heavy ended up being completely stuck, realistically, in the city. That, yeah, it just meant Mafia were on the back foot for the entire game, and Cashback not one of those teams to let it go. So here we go. Map pick converted. 2-0. They need 2 more.
Yeah, I think just speaking about that kill, first of all, it's the worst tank to try and kill, like, because it just takes a bit of time, because he's got HP, so you have to be constantly peeking, and the more exposure time there is, the more likely you're going to take significant damage. And the second thing is, getting that kill doesn't really give them anything other than literally the kill advantage. It doesn't give them any map control or anything like that, so it's really, like, in hindsight, not the best play.
Let's see if Mafia will be able to turn it around on Pilsen, because that is the next map on the menu between both of those teams. And I think Pilsen also one of those maps where the approach that you can go for as a team, it can vary considerably. Mafia, I mean, we all know that they are kind of a team with a reputation for a slower approach. Whereas Cashback, a little bit more unpredictable. Sometimes they're going for the slow game, which they just demonstrated that they can execute very cleanly. Sometimes, though, Cashback like to put all their eggs into one basket, and Pilsen, especially last season, has been a map where they were trying to do just that.
Yeah, I think both teams have a tendency for, like, varying their playstyle quite significantly. I've seen both of them go aggressive into the cap on this map, like both towards the middle with BZs as well. There was this one round that Cashback played against Hit to Run. I think it was in phase 1. They went to the cap with everyone, and then they had this moment where they couldn't decide whether they wanted to stay or leave in the cap, and they ended up just pushing very disjointedly across the open with BZs. So I think both teams have a capacity to mix it up a lot.
Let's see who will have the better end in between both of them on Pilsen here. I mean, Cashback in theory could finish it, whereas Mafia trailing a little bit. So maybe it's time to open the strat book a little bit for them. And that seems to be the case. At least the tank picks, quite unusual for Mafia. The E100, once again, together with an i7, a mouse, a Type 5, an E50M, and the double Fosh B. I was pronouncing the mouse in this way because it has fallen very much out of fashion.
Yeah, a mouse? Strange. Mafia liking the German super heavies in preference to Godzilla. Cashback liking the Bliskowitzes though. Just like in the last match, we saw W using them a lot. It's a very hard to execute, like high skill cap tank, I would say. Even if it seems quite simple on paper, the sort of gameplay that you have to use with it, where you just sort of forehead into your opponent in order to get those kills, but it's still difficult nonetheless. Aka going into the strike middle at the start of the game, he's probably just going to grab that and then try and duck out before anything gets too hot in the middle.
Yeah, Mafia also spreading out a lot with their forces. I would say the majority of their firepower concentrated on those Fosh Bs that are on the 2-line right now, as YOLO takes one shot of damage to open up things. Aka already collected the strikes. Liberty is going to get the second one, but Liberty... Oh, he might be in for
could be everything.
A very nasty surprise. Kono is going to make it over. Just one shot taken, but Liberty probably not expecting the second Fosh B here. Is Rexa going to be able to track him? There is the first track shot, and in comes the second. Liberty tracked, Liberty held. That is the second time in 2 play days that we see one of the best light tank players of the game getting completely countered by a Polish team. Last play day, it was hit on Ghost Town.
Yeah, being a real strike goblin there, trying to get that E1, but the Fosh Bs smartly as well, because only one of them committed, so they were guaranteeing that they had a crossfire on whoever was in that strike, and now YOLO is getting pressured, but he's not before he's pressuring Brainbreaker himself, and Brainbreaker might struggle a little bit here with the IS-7, and he's getting repushed by Profuse as well, so that 2v2 is going in Mafia's favor. Additionally, they're winning all across the map right now, and Mindbreaker's like, well, what do I do now? I've got to run to the 0 line, there's nowhere else to go. No one is even remotely close to his location, and Profuse is just going to be let off the leash here and to enjoy a nice 1v1, a nice 140. He's going to ram him, and that's going to make the 1v1 even easier for him to pick up that kill. This is a complete non-starter for Cashback.
Yeah, Mafia just with all the right answers, and to be honest, they needed it. After this opening on Siegfried line, they really find a way to counter Cashback. Turns out, you just need to counter the tactic.
Yeah, if you just pick up 2 tanks for free, then it's Bing chillin'. That's really, really nice for them. I'm curious, though. I would love to know what Liberty planed at the beginning of the round, because I feel like it's very risky to go for E1 strike, right? It's very risky to do that. Solo in a light tank, when you don't necessarily have full information. I'm really curious where exactly he put the plane. Did he put it more towards the city, and then based on that he felt like he could go for the E1 strike? Because you'd imagine what normally what the teams do almost by default at this point is that they would reverse at the start with a certain number of guns, the tanks that they're not really comfortable revealing what they are, which would be the Fosh Bs. The double Fosh B, I don't know for certain, but they probably tried to dodge the plane in the beginning. So the dynamic at play there of like taking the risk to just go for that E1 strike, questionable.
Absolutely. And I mean, what else can you say if this is the end of it after this first Pilsen round, where, you know, Mafia end up staying alive with 7 tanks. Profuse also perfect shooting, to be honest, not the hardest thing to do against a fleeing 140. But still, and I mean, yeah, the double Fosh B getting absolutely the jump on the RHM. We saw double Fosh Bs actually being played before in a kind of similar position, but they ended up finding less success. So sometimes it's just about finding the execution and not second guessing yourselves when you're making that cross to take out the light tank. This means that Cashback, I mean, they get their own map, but now Mafia is starting to get into the groove of things, to get into the match, and to get into the points as well. It's not going to be a whitewash, at the very least, although in Phase 1, Cashback also only dropped a single round to Mafia.
No, that was very, very good by them. Another thing I'm wondering is if Liberty had HP boost on the light, because if you don't have HP boost on RHM, you're pretty much guaranteed to get tracked on your first shot, right? And it means it's very easy to perma-track the light tank. So like a lot of people in random onslaught, they'll run a sort of a balanced loadout. They'll run HP, rammer, and then low noise exhaust, because the RHM, you'd think you need view range on a light tank, but because the RHM has 420 meters base and also good gun handling anyway, a lot of people like to run that HP boost. So interesting that I don't think he was running it, because he got tracked. He got tracked like pretty much on the first shot.
Yeah, I mean, I just checked. He had 7 hits received, which is, if you translate it in towards Foch B shots, 2,800 damage. No. 6 would be 2.4. Yeah, so 7 is 2.8.
So he does. So he did have HP boost.
Yeah. Because he didn't have any non-pens. I think it was 6 pens received.
Like, no, maybe they shot his track with a non-pen, so it could, still could have been a non-HP boosted RHM.
Mm-hmm. Well, maybe he's going to play the RHM as well, and if you're playing it from one side with a certain loadout, maybe you are playing it from the other side as well. Let's check. The player being Liberty, the chance of him picking an RHM is quite high, and well, here we are.
Well, we'll see this time. It'd be interesting to see if players really make go that deep into it with picking different equipment based on a different side of a map. They probably can't be bothered to change the equipment on the tank, most likely. Anyway, Cashback bringing a Type 5, double K91, double Foch B, E4, and RHM.
And for Mafia, we once again have the E100 together with the T57 Type 5 E50M double Foch B and YOLO in the RHM as well. Let's take a look at the HPs. YOLO 2,580 and the same for Liberty.
Yeah, look at everyone driving off in different directions, just doing what I told about in the last game, just plane dodging at the start. YOLO did use the plane. I don't think he spotted maybe like
one person and yeah. Liberty didn't use it, so Liberty with the plane available, whereas YOLO kind of on the back foot as they spot each other out. So a bit of experience more for YOLO at this point in time for that first spot. Of course, not at a plane and back yet. Liberty is starting to make his way towards the artillery strike. He, of course, cannot know at this point in time how alone YOLO really is. He only has Profuse in that E50M, but I think YOLO wants to go away from this one, because on the other side there is a lot of action. The double Foch B starting to push in. Vladislav, by the way, that position is a very cheeky one. There is a bit of grass more than 10 meters away from him, or 50 meters rather, so he is able to shoot unspotted, but not a lot of damage dealt.
Yeah, I think he fired off a whole clip and didn't manage to connect a single shot there, so a bit unfortunate for him. Liberty doing some more exploration in the coal piles. Took a shot of damage for his troubles. Profuse is in a pretty powerful position for an E50M, just overlooking the open area of the map. And YOLO is hanging around as well, so they do really seem like they want to just continue to hold here, or at least just waste enough time for Cashback to clear it. But look at the zero line. You can just barely see him on the minimaps. Just unspotted, upside down triangle tank pushing. I believe that is a Foch B, and it is. And Profuse, if he's not careful, him and YOLO could very much get caught by this.
And I think Liberty is trying to bait Profuse a little bit as well here. He's not even using the plane. Aka coming around with that Foch B, and Profuse is like, what you doing there? But now YOLO does get spotted. He does get tracked, so 2 shots used. Make that 3 in that Foch B. But now Aka opening up on the E50M. Has 4, has 5, has 6 shots used. Ooh, good HE shell by the RHM into the back of the Foch B. But Aka now in the healing part of his ability, trying to make it away. And I think he's going to make it around the corner. Not going to be too concerned, because the reload already halfway done. And he has Mindbreaker in backup with the K91, and the E50M of Profuse thinks better than to engage into this.
Yeah, you can see Profuse really wanted to try and take advantage of the Foch being on reload, but just unable to do anything more than a couple of shots of damage. Meanwhile, the heavies, they're having their own little scuffle in the center of town. Comrade down to 2.3k HP, in the tight 5, and he's in a bit of an awkward position because if he backs up, he could potentially get shot in the rear by an E4 as well. But look at Kono, like you say, he's pushing around the back. Aka, he's ready for this. He is aiming in the right direction, but is he going to go down before he starts healing?
Yeah, indeed, because he didn't have any charge on his ability. He needed it to get away from the opponents, and now prefers to actually pick up that Foch. So Cashback with a good first kill here, but they are not really ahead in the HP department. However, Liberty and Mindbreaker in the K91 and RHM don't really have anything to say about the coal piles anymore. They need to evacuate, being chased by the team of Mafia. The strikes go down into the cap, though. Conrad being picked up in his super heavy, but I don't think Mindbreaker is running much further.
Yeah, he's being very mindful. He realizes that maybe he cannot get away from Rexar in the Foch B and Profuse, but he's going to cost with his life. He's going to trade that one out. There is a strike that goes on to Profuse. That's just a CS mini strike. Liberty now did manage to escape in the RHM, which is definitely the most important aspect for the team of Cashback, and actually able to do a couple of shots for free. Vladislav now pushing, has actually managed to find Barkis. That's one of the anchor tanks for Mafia, and that's certainly not ideal for him to go down to such low HP and essentially give the Foch a full clip for free.
Yeah, Vladislav now on the long reload, and he probably is thinking about taking that artillery strike, because realistically, who would be trying to challenge him as Rexa is moving back on the coal piles with a Foch B on his own, fully loaded, but Vladislav is the one to now pick up the strike. Still, though, after all of it, Mafia down 2,000 HP, but up a tank, so for now, winning in the tiebreaker condition.
Yeah, it's an interesting mid-round, because we have one team that's got the health advantage, both teams still have a light as well, and one team has the gun advantage, and both the lights are still reasonably healthy as well, so it could very much go down to the wire here. The double Foch B is a pretty useful tool for Mafia. They can just rotate them as many times as they want across the back of the map. Olsik, though, finding Little, that's a nice clip.
That is indeed a clip that he's probably going to be happy about. He also is going to be reloaded in 10 seconds, more or less, has the first ability charge, as well as Mafia take control over the outside, over the eastern part of the map. That means they have a lot of neutral objectives that they are going to be having access to, as YOLO is taking the first one of those with the artillery strike, as the middle one, though, is going to get taken by... Never mind, not going to get taken by Twilight, because, of course, if you control the outside, then you have a lot of shots in towards the artillery strike that is in the destroyed factory.
Yeah, I think that's a bit naive from Twilight to think that he can capture that one when he knows his opposition has control over the coal piles. But, you know, sometimes you want to just take that gamble. Orshik getting caught, takes a shot of damage for free, but it's not too much. He is going to be within 2-shot range of the strike, though, and Orshik, he doesn't really have anywhere to run, because you can see the E4 is pre-aiming him running from behind, which is why he's getting spotted again. And now, as he tries to run away, are they going to double strike him? Did they... Brainbreaker's collected it now. Is he going to blind strike him? Is he going to go for it? Orshik gets lit again, and that will be him gone. The strike gets placed by Brainbreaker, and we are back into a 5v5.
Into a 5v5 where Mafia has a lot less HP. 2,400 at this point in time is quite a lot, especially when on the opposing team you have a very healthy Foch B that also, mind you, has level 3 abilities. So Vladislav, he could be making very aggressive moves at this point if he wanted to. Brainbreaker is sitting on a level 1 strike, so theoretically if that one hits, then Barkis would be below 900. Which is, of course, still a 2-strike, and they don't have one at the moment. But Vladislav, he makes Barkis feel very unsafe.
Yeah, at this point, Brainbreaker could just go straight at him, because there's no way that anyone's going to be able to spot him in that K91. But it looks like they're going to opt for playing on the cap instead, which I don't think is the right play. They're not going for the cap. Brainbreaker has realized the gap that he has available to him as Vladislav pushes as well in the Foch B, just distracting Barkis. The strike comes in, and YOLO will find Twilight from the other side of the map. I thought that was going to be on Barkis, but it was actually Mav here picking up a kill. Their own Vladislav will find the kill. Brainbreaker crossfiring. That meant Barkis had absolutely nowhere to go. And at this point, they've still got the light tank alive from both of these teams. Like, technically, there's a world in which Mafia could recover this, but Cashback's just not giving them any opportunity.
No, it was the same story, right? Mafia got a kill, and for a second or two, they were actually in an advantageous position, but then Cashback just strike back onto this E100, and both teams are playing a very cautious game of World of Tanks here. They're playing the long game as well, but with the better end for whom? Well, right now it looks like Cashback have dealt a lot more damage. Also taking a look at the tanks that have already gone down. I mean, a Type 5 and an E100 for Mafia, so certainly more damage dealt at this point in time, which means Cashback would be winning. It's up to Mafia to make a move.
Yeah, we know that Little is the weak point here. He's the one that Mafia want to kill. They know that he is within strikeable range if they can just do like one shot of damage towards him. YOLO pushing forwards to try and generate some angles, but Liberty is wise to it and already trying to cover that one off, so Little is still protected. Rexar now spotted pushing forwards in his Foch B. Little does not let off a shot at the moment. Plane goes in on YOLO, and Liberty is suppressing that light tank, just pushing him back, forcing him away. He's not allowed to peek in towards Little. Profuse is now collecting the strike. Rexar pushed forwards, takes a shot of damage, activates the heal, but there's a good shot. I don't know where that came from. I think it must have been Kono clipping from the complete opposite side of the map, and he finds the kill on Little. And on draw rules, that means that Mafia would be winning if they can just hold out for 30 seconds, but I think Rexar is going to struggle to hold on here as he's clipping out, and he will not have enough shells to take down Vladislav, who pops his heal ability. Vladislav has more than enough shells to get this kill here, but he bounces a critical one. He just needs to connect, and he does, but it's still a 3v2. Actually, it's a 3v1. Brainbreaker is in a 1 versus 3 somehow. They managed to kill off Liberty as well. I don't know where on earth that happened. So even if Brainbreaker finds this kill, and Kono's still going to deliver a few more shots as well, which means Brainbreaker is costing him all of his HP to try and find this kill, and he will do so, but is he going to get into safety before they find him? He will get into safety, but the game is over. I've completely lost track of it. It's 2 versus 1. Mafia win on tiebreaker.
Exactly. Mafia, by the skin of their teeth, managed to equalize the scoreline here and managed to convert their own map pick. But man, that was long, that was drawn out, that was tiresome probably as well for the players, because imagine having to play 10 minutes and always having to be at the edge of your seat at every single point in time, because something could happen. And to answer your question, what happened to Little? Basically, the Foch B by Mafia that got pushed, I believe that was Rexar, he was clipping out onto the RHM, onto Liberty, while he was being engaged upon by, I believe, Vladislav. So good target selection in a clutch moment coming in by Rexar, who gave YOLO the HP advantage in the light tank 1v1, even though YOLO before that had traded away his HP quite liberally.
Yeah, it's crazy though, because Liberty was on 2.1. He was on over 2,000 HP, and YOLO was a 2-shot. So Liberty, the mindset of, oh, I just need to torpedo straight into this guy and just get the kill. But, you know, like you said, Rexar, we only watched it from his perspective. He was just shooting off screen, and then suddenly, like before he knew it during casting, it's like, oh, I thought they were just going to get, Vladislav was going to get that kill on Rexar, and then it's all good. And then suddenly they were like 2 guns down. It was a 1 versus 3 out of nowhere.
And this means that from best of 7, once again, we have gone to a best of 3. Is this the repeat of the previous story here from the previous match, actually? Because remember there, W also going up 2-0, but then hit. I guess turning on their monitors, winning 4 in a row.
Turning on their monitors, turning on the magic, and coming to play the game. Ensk, a map that both these teams are very familiar with. They both had a preference for playing it in the past. I think they were even at one point training partners, probably still are actually. And like I watched a number of Ensk games where they essentially played the same strategy from like season 2. It literally like tank for tank, the exact same positions. So it's be interesting to see how these two match up against each other, if they're still training.
Well, Ensk certainly one of those maps where most of the time at least the rounds tend to not go as long. Although Mafia is certainly a team that likes to draw out those rounds, and all the better for them because they just won in the longest possible time in 10 minutes exactly.
Yeah, they took it right down to literally the last second. But, you know, remember that game they played against Hit and Run? They were up 3-0, and then it came down to, I believe this map was the tiebreaker, and Mafia just kept trying to... Surprisingly, you say they're the team that likes to draw things out, but they felt under pressure to make something happen in that game, and they ended up overcommitting and getting themselves killed.
Well, let's see what is going to happen in this round on ends. Because, of course, I mean, while both of those teams can already comfortably calculate with their playoff spot, respectively, we keep saying time and time again that there is no training like tournaments. There is no training like actually playing a match on stream. So both of those teams probably want to make the best use out of it. And so far with the content extension that we have seen by them, they are definitely getting their worth. Cashback coming into ends. Ground number 1, a singular BZ, a Type 5 heavy tank, together with a 140 Obliska and triple Foch B. Seems like Cashback want to get a surprise on Mafia.
Definitely. And Mafia bringing double BZ, triple Type, 140 plus a Foch B of their own. That's a lot of HP on the Mafia side. Not only from the Type 5s, but the BZs, don't forget, that's one of the healthiest heavy tanks at tier 10 as well, despite the speed.
Let's see how this one opens. I think the name of the game is going to be Cashback getting the jump on Mafia or not, with those triple Foch Bs, who currently, let's see where they are. They are going towards the city, hoping to get the pickup there, and I think Kono should be very careful.
Yeah, if you remember what happened earlier today, that lone 140 that went into that city and just got completely owned, it wouldn't be a very fair 1 versus 3 right now for Kono in his Foch B, and he should definitely be running away. The radar tower has been collected. It's Bliskovica plus double Foch B actually, and Kono is trying to get out of there, but you know, it's the same tank that's chasing him down, so they should be equally as fast, and Little has found him. He's caught him. Kono activates ability on good timing there to try and minimize the damage as he tries to run away, circling around the buildings, but the rest of his team is just so very far away, and Little has actually been left alone to try and clip out on towards Kono here. Is he going to have enough shells to finish the job? Twilight is coming back as a reinforcement just in case. Little has run out of shells, and Kono has run out of shells as well, so he will at least have the consolation of doing a full clip.
Little on cleanup duty, and he's actually going to get it as Brainbreaker finds himself in a big problem situation here. 1 versus 3. 3 land battleships in his way that also are firing their guns on towards him. He's going to go down, and the same might be even true for Profuse here, who finds himself in the 140 1-on-1, but it's not going to go his way. Cashback are up in the tank department. The same can be said with the HP, although there is a lot of Type 5 heavy tanks with their ability on like 1 or 2 or even 3 charges soon. But Cashback still with the advantage here. Mafia need to respond, but can they? Because Cashback are set up so well on the green offense.
Yeah, you can see they just broke distance with everyone because they know that these Type 5s, they've got to cross open ground if they want to get towards them, but Liberty has been found. That's a good shot by Barkis while he's clipping out on towards Rex. Orshek looking to find the kill, and he will manage to find it, but that's all of the HP traded away just for that 1 kill on a Foch B who had barely any health to begin with. And now Vladislav pushing around the back in his Foch B, has good ability timing, trying to find that kill, and Orshik manages to dodge the body block from YOLO, and he's still continuing in his Foch B, just going on an adventure by himself, distracting the remaining guns from Mafia, who are now closing in with the rest of them. They found Barkis, the isolated Type 5 heavy, and he's reversing as fast as he can, and to be fair, for that super heavy, it's got quite some reverse speed, but not enough to get back into safety. And now it's a 5 versus 2 for Cashback. There is no way that they're going to lose this one.
No, Cashback got exactly what they wanted. They get the good opening, the good catch with this triple Foch B. And Mafia not really standing a chance, because Cashback, as soon as they were ahead in the game, they did not let go once again. Also very commendable effort by Cashback on the field there, where they recognized, well, we got one in the city, now they need to push on the field, but they just positioned themselves in a way where any kind of push was immediately getting shut down. So good reactions. It is match point for the Ukrainian team of Cashback.
Yeah, you can just see that end game, in spite of the fact that the Type 5s and Mafia, they had so much HP as a team, but they just didn't have the positions to really do anything about it. And I love what Cashback did, though. They just kind of stopped for a moment. They broke distance. Everyone set up in a crossfire to make sure that they were spotting all the angles. And the Type 5, it's a very powerful tank, but you know, if you can spot it and know exactly where it's going to be, and it's crossfired for any poke it makes, the HP counts for nothing.
Type 5, in that sense, a little bit like a missile, right? It always knows exactly where it is, and unlike a missile, the Type 5 actually is not able to change position quickly. And I think Cashback taking full advantage of that fact, and are now facing the match point of Cashback, and Mafia now facing the match point of Cashback that, well, so far I would say is deserved. The 2-2 was deserved before, Mafia clutching it out on Pilsen, but now I think this kind of cheeky strategy that came in by Cashback with sending triple Fosh B, I think that is maybe not something that you would be doing in, well, for example, the tiebreaker of the Grand Finals, but overall, you know, it nets them a nice catch, and I think we haven't really seen a lot of this kind of stuff this season, where teams just, you know, throw a random curveball the enemy's way.
Maybe. I mean, we saw W do kind of a similar thing, though. They sent triple Bliskovica through the city, so it's just like a 3-man tank destroyer hit squad going through there. And, you know, doing these kind of strategies, that's what it's all about, right? Just catching something for free and then trying to snowball through the rest of the game. But to be honest, like, the way that they managed to catch Kono, I don't think it went as well as they would have wanted. I mean, sure, they got the kill, that's the most important thing, but Kono was still able to get out a full clip, and he took them so far away from where the rest of the fight was. I think there's potential for Mafia to try and save that round. Like, the real nail in the coffin was the fact that Profuse got caught as well, and he had way more time to react.
Well, he had more time to react, but he ended up getting swarmed regardless. So, yeah, I mean, good job for Cashback. And now we'll just have to wait and see if they're able to double it up.
I think they've looked the stronger of the team so far. I mean, Mafia's wins at the moment with the kind of fluke round where Cashback threw away 2 tanks for free, and then there was the clutch round that they I mean, they did a good job to clutch it up, but they probably didn't deserve that one as well. I think, like, the games that have been, like, competitive, Cashback have looked way more dominant.
Let's see if Cashback is able to close it out in regular time. WZTD together with triple E4, Bliskovica, Batchat, and 1-1B.
Meanwhile, Mafia going BZ, Type 5 Heavy, 140 double Fosh B, and double E4 as well. So both teams still relying on a core of E4s, just a beautiful sniper tank. Aka playing a Batchat though. That's interesting. Also interesting where he went at the start of the round, what he was trying to spot. I'm wondering. I think he stopped at one of the buildings just to have a poke, have a look, and see what he could find. And if he trusts himself or trusts his opening that he's no doubt practiced, then he will know that the field is probably free based on this, and he will go for that strike in the middle of the map. And Vladislav, don't make the same mistake that we've seen already. Oh no, is someone going to get caught by Fosh Bs again in the city? Vladislav is running away. He doesn't have any ability available, and that would be a good thing if he doesn't use it anyway, because then he would get perma-track for the 1 HP that provides. He is going to be able to run away back towards the corner of the map, and that's at least going to buy some time.
It's going to buy some time, but at the same time, Mafia know that they have the Bliskovica cornered because Barkas was cutting off the rotation. But maybe it's not going to matter after all, because so far they are not pushing super aggressively. Great reset, though, into the info tower here. Someone from downtown, I think that was the WZTD, even finding a shot onto YOLO in that E4. Of course, he's going to be able to take it now, but Aka taking unnecessary damage as well in that bat chat. He was just doing nothing, just hanging around on the rails, but he gets punished.
Yeah, he was just having a poke, just trying to see what he could spot, and unfortunately for him, he does take a shot of damage. But it's interesting the way that Cashback has spread across the map right now, because technically they have full field control, but they've just got this lonely tank Vladislav on an island in A2, and he is being properly covered here by Twilight. But the question is, are they covering him enough? Because the Foch Bs, they could just activate ability, go in, kill Vladislav, and then just get out before the heal cycle ends.
You know what you could actually also do? Just do nothing, collect one strike every 2 minutes, or you just pen him with E4s. I was suggesting to go for the very slow death, but I guess this works as well. The fast one, Vladislav, just down to the grave, unable to live against the E4, and well, things turn from, you know, good to great for Mafia. They essentially get a free pickup, and the tanks of Cashback are in no position to push. They don't even have the correct lineup to currently push. I mean, what are you going to do that with the E4s that end up getting perma-tracked against the Foch Bs? With the Batchat, that just gets blown out of the water. Cashback need to hope for a slip-up from Mafia.
You can see how that changes everything, though. Like, Cashback just have to abandon any sort of hopeful control over the city altogether. Now both teams have control over a radar and a strike, so it's pretty even in that regard. A strike has been used by one of the teams, I think. I don't know if it actually hit on towards anything. 29 seconds left on the cap here, but still double strike available for Cashback, so that shouldn't really be too much of a problem. They just need to be careful that Comrade doesn't just back up onto their cap at the last second and completely mess with their timing. The strike will come in, and Rexar will just leave the cap anyway, so the reset is completed there. But Little takes a couple of shots, not ideal for Cashback, and Little takes another shot. He's getting sniped underneath the rails right now in his E4, in all kinds of trouble. He thought he was sitting pretty, but now he's down on 600 points of health as he backs away. Bark is taking lots of damage as well, but I'm pretty sure that was with perfect ability timing. The strikes are used, and Mafia find another kill.
7 versus 5, and the fact that the Batchat has to start brawling on the rails must tell you everything that you need to know about the state of the game. It is catastrophic, even for Cashback, I think is the correct word to use. Yes, another strike goes down to reset Rexar, but it doesn't really change the fact that Mafia are far, well, and truly ahead in the second round of ends. Aka picks up yet another strike, so Cap is not going to become the immediate issue, and Aka is even going to take the info tower here, but yeah, Mafia, I mean, anything but a victory in the round would be a big surprise.
Yeah, I mean, they don't really need to do anything. They're 2 guns up, they're up in HP. All of the initiative needs to be on Cashback, and that is why they are making the move. The E4, Twilight and Mindbreaker peeking in, but it's a good trade. You know, they punish Orshek for it, but they get striked in return, so it's not really like that much of a positive trade for them, and they need way more than that to recover this.
Well, 3,000 HP between both of those teams, but those are not the main concern for Cashback right now, even though those are not looking good. It is actually the 2 kills, and those were on 2 tanks that you would like to have during the push. It is the Bliskowitz and the E4, adding Alpha, adding DPM. It's not available for Cashback, and Brainbreaker now taking a shot. He had the ability active, so he's going to take less damage, but less damage is still damage. Twilight, Orshik was just waiting for him. Now Conrad with a good shot into Mindbreaker, who is unable to respond here as well. Bark is holding the angle, just emptying the clip into the E4. And now even activates the ability, takes a shot of damage. That means he's going to heal most of those 810 back. Good high roll. Kono 3 shots in the clip on towards Liberty. Pushes him out for YOLO. Everything is just going picture perfect for Mafia. That is a round to forget if you're Cashback.
Yeah, a nice, stable, control-based game for Mafia. They knew that they got the early advantage, and they're not required to do anything. They're not required
Conrad,
to push.
AP, let's go. Conrad,
Oh.
do it. Do it. No, he has
No,
the AP
that's
loader.
not HE. That's disappointing. We should definitely time him out for the next round of play for that. Not using HE on the bat chat. Anytime you don't take an opportunity with Type 5 HE is extremely disappointing. But Mafia, they keep all 7 guns alive, and that was pretty much a textbook way to close out a winning position.
Nothing more to be added, really. Mafia, from start to finish, find a perfect round for themselves, and that means we are going the distance, actually. We are going to go the full 7 games in between both of those. So if anyone thought that, maybe the teams were willing to give up a round here or there just because they're in the playoffs already, nope. Both of those teams are utilizing this to the fullest of their abilities, as it's going to tiebreaker, and both of us failed to see what the tiebreaker map was when it was initially shown, but by now I think it was shown multiple times again. It is Ghost Town.
Yeah, and it's another map that both these teams like to play, so the pick and ban that they've selected, they're both pretty happy with it, to be honest, and I suppose that's reflected in the score as well, being 3-3, such a close affair from this game. I still feel like Cashback would be kicking themselves that they threw away a couple of those Pilsen rounds. They probably think, and I think they should have closed out the match at this point, but Ghost Town it will be nonetheless. And again, Cashback, they love to play this map. Mafia, they love to play this map. Let's see what happens.
All right, Mafia, by the way, have side pick on Ghost Town. What would you choose, Moff?
I don't think it matters. It's Ghost Town. It's like almost completely symmetrical. So I mean, you could just like spin the wheel and just point at it randomly and just we pick this side.
Well, anyway, the answer by the team of Mafia was extremely quick. They do pick South, but of course, well, Ghost Town, I think, is one of the maps where it matters the absolute least. What matters more on Ghost Town is what exactly you play, and once again, this map is one of those where variety is absolute king. We saw teams playing with 0, 1, 2, 3, or even 4. Not people in the store, but light tanks on the field.
Yeah, I mean, you correctly point out Ghost Town, because of the nature of the map, you've got the central part with all these buildings, but then the rest of the map is basically desolate, hence the name of the map, right? So there's so much potential for, oh, do you want to play this light tank gameplay? Do you want to just rush the cap? But I think that's what makes it such an interesting map to watch, is that you still have to have a balance. You always have to have a balance. How are you going to reset the cap if you want to play for the surround, if you want to play those lighter vehicles? And a number of times we've seen teams caught out by the simplicity of just send 3 tanks into the cap. It's all good, bro.
And I think more often than some people would like to see it, I think at least a couple times this season, we also saw those cap strategies working in a way where you look at it and you're like, this
just
should
reset.
not have worked. Yeah, just reset forehead. Like, if you need to shoot HE, just get the reset. But no, then, people end up missing shots. People end up bouncing APCR in E4s. Even that has happened already this season. So, yeah, let's see. The rat strategy, of course, in Ghost Town has fallen at least a little bit out of fashion, although I don't think it's completely impossible to pull off either still. But I think people are or have started playing a lot more with heavy tanks to, force the issue from the get-go. Maybe immediate executes as well, trying to get field control, trying to get those info towers and then play from there while you also get the strike. Ghost Town, there's so many ways to play, and sometimes you know, one way is just countering the other completely, but most of the time, I think both teams are kind of left in this awkward situation where they cannot be too aggressive and too passive at the same time because they're just lacking info.
Yeah, I think it's generally easier to try and play a heavier lineup, right? I mean, we saw through the earlier matches W just being such a stubborn team of just continually trying to play rat tactic gameplay, and it's so hard to execute now. I think most of these teams are just like, well, do we really need to come up with something like extremely convoluted when it's just easier to go towards the cap?
Well, once again, the predictions, and there is 2 of those that can still come true. It's yours and baby's.
Yeah, I mean, I'm either going to be a winner or a loser. And, you know, that's the thing as well. It's like, I'm all on the line because I'm the only one that went for cashback. So if Mafia wins, I get absolutely nothing. And if cashback wins, I get everything.
That's kind of the thing with predicting tiebreaker, right? You need to flip it at the end of the day. And current fastest win, yeah, of course. Cashback won the secret line. That was an extremely fast win on that map, and this is why they chose South, I do believe.
I'm trying to work out in my head if there's any logical reason why you would pick South over North, or if it even matters.
I mean, how it works
into it a bit too much.
is that basically the admin is giving you 60 seconds to pick, so if you don't care either way, you might as well just pick immediately, right?
Yeah. I just think, I'm just wondering if like maybe the timing is slightly better from one of the sides, but I've got my eye on the Mafia lineup, so I'm going to read that one out first. Comrade playing BZ75, Type 5 Heavy, E50M, double Leo, double RHM.
And for cashback, we have the can opener, together with double T57 Heavy, a Batcher, the K91, a Bliskowitzer, and the RHM. So it's double light and double mini strike against singular light and 1 mini strike. However, cashback, of course, with the firepower advantage coming out of those T57s.
Yeah, it's gonna be really tough for the 57 heavies because cashback is like with the can opener, they're trying to play to like for cap denial, right? But Mafia are also playing for cap denial. They're just playing it with a bit more of a ratty setup. Liberty is going for that strike again on the middle of the open, and he is spotted for this play. YOLO. He didn't have to use a plane for it, he just spotted him normally. Does YOLO want to reset this? Does he want to stop him from being able to capture the strike? He tries to put in a shot of damage, but it does not connect, so Liberty will be able to collect that strike at the beginning of the round, and then immediately he's going to turn his RHM and try and get out of there. I think he's just waiting for a timing, really. He doesn't want to get planed as he leaves.
Well, YOLO also doesn't really have any eyes on towards Twilight and Liberty. I think Twilight at this point in time just here to shield, and maybe Liberty would like to consider leaving now because it has been quite some time and no plane by YOLO has gone down. He still has his own plane available, by the way, so he could be trying to spot out YOLO. But now Twilight and Conrad actually exchanging spots as Conrad takes a shot of damage. Liberty still unspotted. I think he's starting to leave, maybe still hanging around, but now finally pressing the W key to make his way away. That was Liberty playing almost too safe for my taste.
Well, he wanted to wait a little bit. He didn't want to get planed as he tried to leave potentially, but he also, because of the fact that he planed where YOLO was, then because he can actually see YOLO. When the light tank uses the plane, it's like popped above his head, right? So he can actually see whether he's being planed in that exact moment. Strike comes in to deny Orshek. That's only going to waste a bit of time, though. Liberty probably going to try and snipe from the balcony on a Pexel to reset this one. I don't think Orshek is going to be allowed to collect this strike.
And Liberty indeed gets the reset. I think that one is out of render, so good pings from Brainbreaker possibly even going on here. That is one of the things that you don't see a lot of times, at least in Random Onslaught, but here of course the communication between the teams is going to be absolutely on point. They demonstrate how well they are doing that one. Those out of render snipes, they do become possible with the ping system.
Yeah, Comrade collecting that field strike for the second time of asking. I think he collects it just because he literally just got there first, so he was just waiting in the circle for longer than Twilight and his can opener. But a very stale game right now. No one wants to make a move, but Mafia, they need to try and get some utility out of this double light. They've both got a plane available, but there's nothing really doing right now. I mean, the can opener is technically free right now, but they don't know that.
Technically. That is, of course, one of those words, right? Technically free does not mean free in itself. Little Brainbreaker and Liberty now starting to push up, though, on that 1-2 line, and Brainbreaker doesn't even get spotted for this cheeky move here. Is he going to go all the way around? Yes, he is. This means Orzhek finds himself in between an RHM, a K91, and a Batchat. Brainbreaker now in the deep end of his clip, has used 3, make that 4 shots, gets the kill before another shot leaves the E50M's barrel, and this means Cashback have the advantage so far. Are Mafia able to capitalize anywhere else? It doesn't seem like it, at least looking at those HPs. Moff, it looks like Cashback are putting themselves in prime position to win the tiebreaker.
Yeah, well, what can they do? They're playing with double light. It's not like they can just immediately overpush the other side. The can opener of Twilight is now running away. That technically free tank, he realized that he was in a dangerous situation and did manage to run away on time before any significant damage had been dealt. There is a strike on the side of Mafia, so they can't have cap reset, but he actually uses it to do a little bit of extra damage to Twilight. Potentially, that could be a waste, but Cashback, they're not playing for the cap right now. They're going with the T-57 heavies. They're trying to go through the middle of the map, trying to find this kill. Profuse and Rex are crossfiring in the Leopard 1s. Brainbreaker has actually gone a little bit too far here, and now he's stuck in the low ground.
Well, Mindbreaker was able to open up on towards the Type 5 Heavy, and I think that's a Batchat currently raining shells from behind. Yuzek taking another one blindly, so good marksmanship coming out from Brainbreaker, who's on the long reload, but of course he doesn't know how low this Type 5 actually is, as Profuse still on 1926 HP. That is a technical one clip for the Batchat, but now Aka has found Conrad, puts good 3 shots here, and Mindbreaker, the second E50M, and the Type 5 Heavy manages to bounce 1 but not 2, and YOLO coming in, though the soft underbelly of the Cashback lineup, at least when it's on a one-shot, the can opener, more like can't opener, gets shut down.
Yeah, and Mindbreaker now peeking in the back. He's not got enough shells to find the kill on Comrade. He's got to be careful of himself jumping off like that to the lower level, but Aka's coming back in, and he seems to have found YOLO on a timing here, which is great clip prioritization. You'd love to focus the light tank in that situation. Speaking of light tanks, Liberty's pushed up, and he's actually taking the brunt of the damage for his team because he knows that his fellow medium tanks are on lower HP, and he's still got enough. The Brainbreaker combining as well. A flurry of kills go the way of Cashback, and that just leaves one guy left.
Yeah, once again, skirmishes all across the map between Cashback and Mafia, but Cashback with that opening on the 1-2 line, finding one of the DPM tanks of Mafia, and this means that in turn, they are once again going to confirm around where they were ahead for the longest time. They simply do not let it go, and they do end up snatching the victory. So in this Phase 2 match on the second last day of the phase, we find ourselves with Cashback taking 3 and Mafia only taking home 1 point. Now, what does that actually mean for the standings? Does Cashback actually overtake Mafia or not?
Cashback was on 22, I think Mafia was on 24, so I think yes. Let me check.
Because I know that Cashback was behind, right?
Yeah, so Mafia was on 25, Cashback was on 22. But because you only get 3 points for a tiebreaker win, and Mafia gets 1 point, so Mafia will stay ahead by 1 point, I think.
Big brain, big mouths. First of all, the better results, though. And Liberty, once again, this absolute monster of a light tank player, stepping up for his team with the highest damage dealt. That is always something to achieve, even though the RHM, of course, one of the best damage dealer light tanks out there.
Yeah, I mean, in this kind of a battle, the way it played out, it's kind of weird to say that he is like the main playmaker almost. And even though he wasn't the one directly pushing in at any point, he was always just farming off of someone else's distraction, which is exactly how you want to play it, really. And Mafia just never really got going with their lineup. Like the double light tank had basically no impact on the round. All of the damage that the Leos have is pretty much just late game farm, and they were not. They really should have tried to take more advantage of that can opener being committed in the field. Like, I don't know why they didn't try to do something about that. I know there's like a lack of information. You don't know that it's completely free, but like surely when you're playing with double light and double Leo, like you want to at least try and farm that go.
Well, after all of this is said and done, it is, of course, also time to remind people about the still up and coming streams that we have yet to go through, because today was the 4th of November, but on Thursday it'll be the 6th. So yet another OLS Playday. It will be the last day of Phase 2, so another 5 OLS tokens to claim there as well. And then on the weekend, it is going to get really juicy. Not just for me and you, because we're going to see a lot of World of Tanks Onslaught action, but also for all of our viewers, because we'll have 10 tokens on each day. And I think I'm not spoiling too much when I say that we'll also have some other drops for you prepared during the OLS and also OLF Grand Finals, because while all of this was going on the European server with the OLF and also the OCS, congratulations again for CTR, to CTR for winning that one. The OLF have also been going on, and the last 3 teams are going to be making their appearance on Saturday, and hopefully for them as well on Sunday.
Yeah, we'll see if they can put on a bit of a show for us. I have to say, I haven't really watched much of the NA scene, just because the timing of the games, it starts at like midnight to 1 a.m. I don't particularly want to stay up to watch those games, but I know that you have to, Kihan, because you are dedicated to the competitive scene of World of Tanks.
My dedication compels me to do it, and I have to say it was very enjoyable to watch at least some of those matches on the NA server. There were no like complete blowouts, and with the setup that we have now, I think we are going to see a fairly competitive event on Saturday and Sunday there. Talking about the OLS tokens there, what can you get with those? Well, first and foremost, if you don't have one, then I do actually personally recommend the Lansen C. It's quite the nice premium tank. The Steyr WT, I have to say, it's not my taste. Then again, I don't like playing tank destroyers. T-3485M, good choice as well. And if you have all of those, I mean, the 140, it's in meta right now. The 3D style for it is available, although to be able to equip it, once again, I never get tired of telling people you actually have to own the tank.
Wow, that's crazy. I have no thoughts on the Lansen C. It's not a tank. I don't think I've ever played it, actually.
It's got good gun depression and decent alpha. I don't need more from my tanks. Anyway, standings. And, well, 2 teams are marked in red already, even though it is not even the last playday of Phase 2. And those 2 teams are this time, well, also Vortex and Carrillo, of course, but W and Yogurt. And I think we've never seen something as dramatic as this in the Onslaught Legends series. I don't think the reigning champion has ever gone out before the playoffs.
No, that's true, but we're at the moment we're in season 4, right? So we only have 3 seasons of history behind us, and you know it's quite interesting for the W team. Their record at the moment is 5th, 1st, and 5th. So their average position is what, like 3rd. It's quite interesting that they go up and down like that. And you know they've got a lot to prepare for coming in the future with WCI, and I suppose if they were looking for a ray of sunshine right now, because they've been probably feeling quite bad after being eliminated, they've got a lot of time to prepare. They don't have to worry about the playoffs, and everyone will want to practice against them because they don't have to fight them.
Daki said the same thing. I still think that's an awful load of cope. But yeah, anyway, thank you very much for casting with me today and talking about Ducky, of course, as every single day of the OLS. If you haven't managed to claim your tokens yet, then you'll be able to on his channel, because we are going to raid the man. If you have all the tokens, then maybe you want to stay around anyway, because he isn't too bad at the game either, and that is an understatement. He's probably going to be playing Onslaught as well. With all of that said and done, thank you very much for watching, and see you on Thursday. Bye-bye.
This is the world's most advanced processor. In entertainment, its rendering speeds render other processors obsolete. Powers cloud services for billions. Helps change the course of climate change. And uses AI to accelerate disease detection and cures. We make the world's most advanced processors, but only with your vision can we advance the world. AMD. Together, we advance.